Yo, 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 check in, Hood Talk News. Check in, check in. What's good, what's good? What's good, Small? Holding it down in the chat, that's right. Y'all check in, check in, check in. We about to get Renee up in here. Y'all check on in. Check in, check in. Y'all hit that like and share. Hit that like and share. We finna have Renee go live, man, where y'all can talk to her. We're gonna have it where y'all can call in and talk to her. Check in, check in. Check in, y'all. Renee is about to come on the air. Check in, check in. What's good, everybody? What's good? What's good? What's good this afternoon? Check in, y'all. Wait for y'all to get up in here so I can get Renee on up in here, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all call in and talk to her at some point today. Y'all check in. Like and share, man, because a lot of people ain't getting notifications. Like and share. That way, they can see us live. Like and share. Don't forget to hit that donation if you can. Check in, man. I'm about to get Renee up in here, y'all. Like and share. Let me get Renee up in here. Let's get Renee on the phone. Renee, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. You live.
Hi, how's everybody doing today? I hope everyone's doing well. We've had a very long week, Mr. Hood.
Sure
I've
have.
been listening. I've been listening to the things that have been going on, but it is so good to see the unity and for everyone to stick together in this process.
That's right.
I'm really, really proud of everybody and for staying strong because it's no more than people wanting to come in and interrupt what you have, interrupt what we have here at Hood Talk News. But everyone stayed steadfast in this process, and everyone's holding on, and I'm really proud of everybody. Mr. Henry, you did a very good job. OG Charlie, always setting it on fire. Of course, Mr. Hood and Miss Peaches are always there, and everyone in the Hood Talk family. I have a few things that I want to cover, and I have some other approaches that I like to share with everybody as well. But what I would like to do is kind of do a recap, and I like to do that per conversation since I'm on here, weekly. And my recap is the fact that Ernest Askadom, Nipsey Hussle, was assassinated on March 31st, 2019. Since then, there have been a lot of developments in the process and a lot of hidden information in the process from then to now. Hood Talk News has contributed significantly in pulling out other ideas and other views about from then till now that can't be disputed. Information that has gone out has really begun and continues to shift the meter in this process and shift attention in this process. So we had RENEE Speaks. We've had other people come on here and begin to generate a different thought about the things that are going on. By no means is it self-promotion. I'm just saying that based on the timing and the correlation between the changes in the court systems, the investigations, the information, the transcript, kind of aligned during that time. Because of that, it opens up the view of people on the outside wanting to come and find out what's going on the inside, meaning inside these conversations, inside these thoughts. So as I began to review and go over as I do, I said, okay, now the Hood Talk News family was shut down. But the same day that was shut down was the same day that court was supposed to come in and let us know on July 17th what was going to proceed from the 17th forward. But they didn't have it. But we were shut down on the same day. I just don't think that was just by coincidence. I think that was by design, to kind of silence us for a moment so they can continue. As I said prior to that, be careful because they will slide something by us, and I believe they slid something by us. Shut us down so we couldn't come together, analyze it, get the information, come up with our own ideas about it. In the interim, they have filed a motion, as I said to you guys before, to postpone the trial or the next appearance in court, which will be August 29th, weeks down the road. So that was kind of another slide up under the belt. It doesn't just have to be only connected to Hood Talk News. All I'm saying is there is a correlation between the two that we need to pay attention to. Should also pay attention to the agitation that's been coming along in this process. As Hood Talk News family began to grow, so did the agitation. When we got to a critical point, the strong agitation comes in. Other bloggers, other people, comments, shutting down the website. That's a tactic to try to dismantle a movement. When these things happen, we have to pay attention to them so we can be prepared when they happen again. The stronger the movement goes, the stronger the people get together, the more agitation is going to come. And it can come through things that are familiar to us, through familiar voices, through bloggers, but it's going to come. But a lot of times, the agitation is put in place specifically to disrupt what's going on. So we have to pay attention to that because it will continue to happen. And we have to prepare ourselves for that in the future. Now, as far as bloggers coming in, making their attacks, some of it surely is envy and some of it surely is jealousy. But it will present itself as that in any facet of life. But because we are on this path, we have to understand it differently. Not saying that we're not, but we just have to understand it differently because they're going to come. And a lot of it will be directed at Mr. Hood because he's the leader of this process. And they have done it throughout history. They will attack the leader so they can dismantle everyone else that's connected to it. They meaning the powers that be. So we have to be mindful of that. What else I paid attention to and heard through some of the agitation is the many voices of members of the family. In support of, hanging on, and some of them maybe had dissatisfaction with some things that have been said or communicated. But what I was so proud of is the fact that this platform allowed people to come in and speak their grievances or dissatisfactions or misunderstandings about things and still hold on to one another. and continue through the process. That's important. We're going to need that. If you have a misunderstanding, disagreement, or whatever, and you come forward and you're heard, that's important in our communication. And we have that, which shows how strong we are as a family, as a unit. And we're going to need to continue with that moving forward. Because Hood Talk News, whether we want it or not, is a mainstay in the ideas of this communication. It's a mainstay in the action of this communication. It's just no two ways about it. And everyone is playing their part. However you're communicating, whatever you bring to the table, whatever you bring to this platform, it matters. What I've been seeing too is I've been looking around in other forms of media, be it print, online, and what have you. I'm even seeing their language begin to change because they're starting to say that, hey, the community, meaning our community, has put in a lot of effort and is thinking different about what happened to Ernest Ascadon, Nipsey Hussle. So it's changing their narrative too because they're paying attention to us. So we have to be mindful of where we are in this process and stay on topic. Not saying that we're not, but we have to stay on topic. From now to August 29th, my goal is to ensure that information is going to be filtered into the family and beyond, because we're heard, from what I understand from people that I know in Guyana and other places, that we are being heard around across this country, across this world, in a lot of places. So my goal is to make sure that we have the information to move us forward. So my idea about doing this is to hold info sessions. Info sessions, meaning giving information out in different sessions. Because what I'm hearing from the conversations that we're having surrounding Nipsey Hussle, Ernest Ascadon's death, assassination, is people talking about property ownership. We're talking about, obviously, death. We're talking about living in a hood versus to not. You know, how our process is done. I'm hearing grief coming through people in their voices and in their experiences and what they share. And if we can separate these conversations and really get to the root of each one, I think it'll move us further even more so. So my plan is to hold these different information services or information sessions throughout the week. Okay? They may not be back to back, but it will be throughout the week. And I'm going to try to be as consistent as I can according to my schedule to lead us up into August 29th. Because there's going to be some information we need to know about how the court might work. We need to know how the prosecutors might work. We need to know how the defense attorney might work. We need to know these things. So to the best of my ability, I'll come in and try to get us a grasp of information on what these roles are in the process. What might a prosecutor do? What might a defense attorney do? You know, what are some of the strategies that may come through? That could be a session. Hey, somebody talks about why do people move or stay in the hood based on Ernest Ascadon, Nipsey Hussle staying in the hood. That'll be a conversation that we can have. Okay, why would Ernest Ascadon, Nipsey Hussle be a target of such an assassination? That would be a target. A topic as to why he could be a target is what I meant to say. So we will have different ones, and other ones will be generated as I listen to our conversation. So I'm going to move that forward as well to keep us on board. Now, in the interim of each one, perhaps you all could put your questions in the comments, because I'll look over them, or perhaps send them to Mr. Hood or Miss Peaches so we can do that, because it's important for us to educate ourselves on what's to come. We need to educate ourselves on when we get agitated and disrupted. We need to educate ourselves in the understanding of what we communicate that could likely or not be viewed by even us as something that could kind of cause us to question. We need to do all of this because all of this will move us forward. Because the goal here is to get justice for Ermias Askedon Nipsey Hussle. That's the goal. Hood Talk News has been a strong and positive contributor through this platform. It's just undeniable. It has been. If it hadn't, all this agitation wouldn't even come. So we're here and we're here to stay. We're here to stay. So I have other things I want to say, and I will, but I do understand that people have their questions at this point. So if you have your questions, I may already have the information to answer them. You're more than welcome to come in now, Mr. Hood, if you like. You can open up the forum for them to come in.
Call in. Call in. Y'all got a question for Renee? Call in.
I'm more than willing to answer the questions that I can to the best of my ability. And I do need to say this. I am not an attorney. So I'm not representing anything from that realm. Okay? But I do have enough information that I can give you on a lot of topics. And I will be more than willing to do that. If it's something that I can't answer, I'll let you know. But if it's something that I can, I most definitely will open up the gates and answer those for you. I do ask that when people call in to please remain respectful. I'm not saying that you're not. Just please remain respectful of me and remain respectful of Hood Talk News.
Hey, I have a question. I sent it through the DM. I was wondering if you got it. But I was just questioning the time that Cowboy said he went to lunch and Nipsey Hussle showed up at the shop. So he said he went to the shop he got there around 1 to 1:30. And if you look at the transcript, the transcript says around that time too, maybe 15 minutes off. But also in the transcript, it says that the time on the video, the time on the video is off. It's on the different videos. One video was off by 67 minutes. One was off by 20-something minutes. Did you all look into that?
Well, what I would say about that is when you have those discrepancies, and yes, I've seen some discrepancies in the timing. To me, there's a discrepancy on when he posted his last message to the timing of his death, because that time is off. But you know who is responsible for clearing that up? That prosecutor. That prosecutor over this case should pull that information together and find out why are these times different, or why are there discrepancies between this time. Those are the activities of this prosecutor, because that could lead to something in this case.
Well, I thought maybe he saw the video and just said, "Oh yeah, that's the time he came." You know.
Say it again. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Any videos? There are no videos, but the times that he said that Nipsey showed up is the time that the prosecutor said was on the video. And I thought that was strange. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so let me make sure I understand. You're saying that there's a difference in timing, right? Between these communications, between Cowboy, the prosecutor, and what's written? Is that what you're saying to me?
Well, I'm saying that Cowboy saw the video and said, "Oh, yeah, he showed up at that time." And when they tell us the time that was on the videos, it kind of goes with the time that Cowboy said that Nipsey showed up, which means that he saw the video and just put a time out there, but the video was off.
Your phone is going in and out.
That's why I think he saw what happened. He looked at the video, maybe in the store. I don't know if it was in the lot or whatever, but I believe he saw the videos. And he said,
I understand what you're saying.
Came, and that's just strange that the time he said he came is around the time that's on the video. Although that's not correct. That wasn't the time he came. The videos were off up to an hour, over an hour. You
Which
get what
means
I'm
he's not
saying? So I
credible.
think he was lying somewhere in there.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, that's the point I'm
That's
making.
just my
Exactly.
thought.
Yeah, well, it's a valid thought
Do you,
because if he's not being consistent in his testimony, and he has not been consistent, and he's given different accounts of what's going on, and that's something that the prosecutor needs to horn in on if they want to get to the truth. So what we have to do in understanding that, and as you said, you pointed that out, and you recognize that, then you have to ask, or it's a good question to ask, why isn't this information being poured out? Why is this not being addressed in this process? Because when I look at the prosecutor and that information, when I read the transcript, the way the questionings are coming out, the things that aren't asked, I begin to say, well, doesn't appear to be very aggressive in wanting to get the information. It just comes across a little too casual to me.
Appreciate
so
you.
You made a very, very valid point. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Love your show.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate that caller. Y'all call in. Call in. One question to call now. One question to call. Call in. But you oh, here we go.
Well, while we're waiting on the calls.
We got one right here.
Oh, okay. Go right ahead.
Yo, what's up? This is Craig calling from Alaska. How you guys doing?
All right.
Doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. How's my voice? I'm not too loud, am I?
Nah, you good.
Yeah, you okay?
So Hood, I read the transcripts. I've been studying this thing, and there's a couple of things that trouble me. First of all, the unintended consequences of a Vlad TV interview. You guys need to go back and check Big U's interview. So just a little bit of background. First of all, the brother spent time in prison, so we know he has some patience. He had to be waiting around plotting a lot of shit, right? But, excuse me, what really troubles me is that Nipsey's homeboy was killed, Fats was killed a couple of years earlier. And if I'm not mistaken, that case went unsolved. And in that interview, Big U said, if you're going to get somebody, you don't really care about the consequences. I'm paraphrasing now. He said, if you're going to go, you're going to go. And if you want to get at somebody and make them hurt, you take out somebody they love and make them feel it. And then you do that again. Now, I keep thinking about that incident with him and Black Sam shooting over his head. Now, being from the streets, you know, like I do, you pull out a weapon, you can't take pictures. And you got to finish the job, because you can't pull out a heater and not use it, because you just gave somebody a license to clap back. So Black Sam was still on the hook for that. And I think Big U never let it go. I think he never let that go. And he had been plotting for that. You know, he put hands on Nipsey's dad. He put hands on Nipsey. And Black Sam got the heater and butt shots. And if you go back and look, Big U on his site, Unique Records at the time, he put out a post that, yes, Big U and Nipsey got into it. It was some gangland street shit. Big U did beat up the whole Nipsey, his pops and his brother. And I'm thinking, why would you put out some shit like that unless you are trying to demean that young man? Because you know street reputation is everything. So if you put that out and this cat is talking about how hard he is in the streets, what are you doing? You're trying to undermine his success and also whatever credibility he may have. But you fast forward this 8 years later, 9 years later, everybody's sitting back in the cut, and I think you start looking at things like Nipsey said when he had that video in the back, somebody was recording the back seat, talking about old cats kind of showing jealousy and not doing their part. They're just looking for handouts. All these things that have been going on it kind of all points back to the same thing. It's some street shit with some guys who are shot callers allowed it to happen. As I said in my comments, it has to be a sanctioned hit because you can't take out a brother like that without getting permission. And then I think the last part of this, I think his underground status was severely underrated because under normal circumstances, that brother, his name probably wouldn't have been projected worldwide as it has been. I think the fact that this took place and it shined light on him and what he was doing has produced this energy around the world because it's worldwide, and we're all coming together with our different pieces of this puzzle. And eventually this jigsaw is going to be put together. But that young man, he was on a list, and they got him. And I think he knew. The one thing that everybody keeps talking about is those phone records. They are going to reveal a lot of information. I'm anxious to see what his family was told. I'm anxious to see his business communications. And I'm anxious to see whatever type of communications he was having with anybody in those last 2 weeks. Because they were saying that during the Khaled video, that he had to hire extra police. He was getting calls threatening him. All right, where's that coming from? And I think that we all have a good sense that this is a product of, as the caller called him earlier, Large Eugene, or whatever the hell his name is. But I think that brother has some explaining to do, and eventually the chickens will come home to roost on him.
That's right. Appreciate you, caller. Appreciate you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you for calling in.
All right,
that was
brother,
a very good.
I'm gonna sit back and listen. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
All right, thank you. He made a lot of points because you have to look at the pattern of activity that Nipsey Hussle, Ermias Askedon was participating in, not only that day, but the days leading up to that. So all of that information is valid because the only people that they basically pulled in right now and talked about as far as the transcript and had down the court are the people that were out there. But Nipsey did a lot more in the weeks leading up to this. So all of that information needs to be pulled in. Phone records, who he talked to. As a matter of fact, the family and other people around him should have really been down there so they can bring Nipsey Hussle's activities to life. Because we're dependent on people who all appear to be questionable in one form or another. But more activity was going on. Now, one thing I would like to interject into this is, as I heard this gentleman state, that there was an order that came through. You know, somebody ordered the hit as well. He didn't say this, but I'm saying this. But those orders don't just have to come from the hood. Sure, people can put those orders in place, but this isn't just hood. Those orders can come down, and yes, people can send that through a channel of communication. Yes. But just hood, based on who Nipsey Hussle is, based on who Ermias Askedon is, it's not just hood. Yes, he had a business in the hood. Yes, he came in the hood. But based on his activities as a professional, as a real estate mogul, as a businessman, as his understanding of this economy and the things that he was pushing, means he was more than just hood. Sure, an order came through a channel of communication, yes, but it wasn't just hood. It wasn't just hood. Orders can come from a lot of different places. This isn't just hood. Hood was used, yes. But Nipsey Hussle, Ermias Askedon, is not just hood. He was not just a hood guy. And that's one of the info sessions that I plan on having here. So we can understand, at least be able to view him beyond the hood. Now, I am not knocking down anyone's view on how they think this may have occurred. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm only saying that he was more than hood for us to just put him there and keep him there. I'm not saying that anyone's doing that. I'm just making a statement. He was more than that in his dealings. If he was only hood, they wouldn't be changing those streets to put his name on them. How many hood people do you know get a street named after them other than something we may say in the hood? We may write it on a building or something, but it's not going to go through city government and get his name changed if he was only hood. This was more than just hood. Okay, next question.
Y'all call back in, callers. Y'all call in.
Well, while we're waiting too, if everyone can go out and take a look at this, there's a Facebook Live where Nipsey Hussle is being honored. It's called City Council Honoring Nipsey Hussle. And it was on April 12th, I believe it was, where they had people, they being the City Council, Los Angeles City Council, and people come in and voice their opinions and their feelings about why the street should be named in honor of Nipsey Hussle. Now, this was April 12th. Sam Ashkadome was there. Imani was there. The father, Mr. Ashkadome, he was there, and the grandmother. You'll see them sitting there. So if you all can get an opportunity to go view that, you will also see people coming in speaking on why the street should be named in honor of him. But please pay attention to people who are in there trying to distract from it. So you will see how people will be placed in situations to distract from this goal.
That's right.
Just take a look at it. But go ahead. Next person.
All right. Caller, you on?
Yeah, Chicago calling in hood.
What's good?
Hey, I want to know why they hasn't interviewed Ren Paul and somebody else. Ren Paul.
Kid Flashy.
Somebody else. Yeah, Kid Flashy. And it's the lady in the alley. Why they ain't? And because Cowboy said Ren Paul name several times in his transcript. And I'm wondering how they not looking at the interviews that took place up into the transcript.
Mm-hmm.
And this all just setting everybody up for the guy getting off because they said one thing, now they doing another thing. All that is to get him off because it's not validated. It's not real. That's how that guy gonna walk, and that's why the cameras did the way they did so he can walk. So all that propaganda stuff ain't nothing but a string smoke to get him off.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know, if Big U got a grant for kids to do this and he an activist, why is this grown man on Instagram or whatever throwing up gang signs? How could you get a grant like that? We need help in Chicago then if they doing it like that in LA. Because we got a big problem too. I don't understand how could he get a grant? He claiming his hood. He claiming it. You don't supposed to interact like that with them.
That's right.
But he's
you're not.
On live doing it. Where they do that at?
Mm-hmm.
That happened in Chicago, and you had organizations being investigated for that.
Appreciate the caller. She's gonna answer you right now. She's gonna answer your question right now. Appreciate you for calling.
Okay, when you're right, there are different protocols for holding people accountable for certain behaviors. Now, when you apply for a grant, you send in an application and information regarding that grant. By the time he probably got to put up those gang signs and stuff like that, the grant was already approved. Now, when you have certain grants, sure, they can come back and say, well, you have to be consistent in what this contract says your behavior is supposed to be. The people may not have even seen him put up those gang signs. That's where people in the public can communicate and say, hey, this grant is for A, B, C, and D, but the way he's conducting himself is inappropriate according to what this agreement is. Because you have people who monitor grants. You have grant writers, and people who accept the application and process that, but you also have people who come out to ensure that you are being consistent with what we have contracted you to do in receiving these monies for this grant. Now, you have to look at the language of that contract to see if he is in violation of that. He might have sneaked in and just put that up. They may not even know. They may not even know. And you have to also know what is in that contract based on what behavior would be acceptable. I am by no means saying that anyone would agree with him putting up those gang signs. No. But the people who manage that grant would have to be notified, and then they can step in and say, hey, this is a violation of what we have agreed for you to do.
Next caller.
Okay.
Caller, you on that? You on, caller?
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say one thing. I was looking at TV, and it was outside this nightclub, and maybe 20 policemen in a circle, and in that circle, this guy was beating the shit out this other guy. Tearing him up, man, and the police just standing there watching him, and then when he got up, it was Big U.
Yeah, that's TMZ.
So that just lets you know, that the police is in cahoots with Big U. Mm-hmm. But why else would they stand around and just let him beat the guy?
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it does seem
appreciate
from
yeah,
thank you. Yeah, thank you for calling in. It does seem apparently there's some type of rapport between Big U and the LAPD. There surely appears to be something very well connected between the two. Plus, he did work with them once upon a time. But the way that they protect him in videos like this is very questionable. It is very questionable, and it looks like there's some type of connection between them. Is it that? Well, I don't want to say what I think it is per se, but let me just say this. I do believe there's a connection between the LAPD and Big U, because he floats around in that environment with so much confidence. And he walks around as if nothing's going to happen to him, and just his actions are consistent with someone who would be connected to the LAPD or some type of authority. Because there are other authorities out there too. So, next question.
Turn your device down in the background.
I got it down.
Speak on it. What's your question?
My question is, I know that Nipsey did a video in Brooklyn called Rap Nigga. And I know they got this thing where people got to check in. Who did Nipsey check in with and Big U for Nipsey to do a video in Brooklyn? Who run Brooklyn for Nipsey to come to Brooklyn and do that Rap Nigga video like that? That's my question.
Appreciate your caller. Thank you. She's been asking.
Well, to be honest, because I'm not a part of that culture, I don't know who he would have to check in with. I don't know anything about that, because I think your question is actually who did he talk to allow him to come into Brooklyn. I wouldn't have that information because I'm not a part of that culture. I would have absolutely no idea.
He checked in with somebody. We don't know who
it
is, but he checked in.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. Yeah, and I don't know if he did or didn't.
Yeah,
we don't know that. Did he? Did he really do it? He was able to.
There? That's who he checked in with, the police.
Yeah. Who's to say? We don't. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who's to say who they checked in with, or even if they had to? Because you have to understand too. I do understand street protocol. Don't get me wrong, but when people are coming in to areas and in communities to perform videos and to perform other things, they go through other channels to get those things done. They get permits from the government. They get all other types of approval to come in those areas. They don't just get the gang culture approval to be able to do those videos or to do things. Now, from street level, yes, you have to get approval. But if a company or someone else wants to come in and shoot a video, they also have to go through procedures and get approval to come in there too.
Permits and
Permits, yes, they get permits. They get the area. We're going to be here between this time and this time. When you have people on these video shoots who are going to come out there and perform their tasks, there are unions involved, there are union contracts involved, and they forecast that. They may say 3 months from now, we need to do a video on A, B, C, and D. A lot of times that paperwork is already in place. And if you are an artist and you are a contractor with these people, you have to go along with what they say. Not as a puppet, it's just that you have a contract to be able to go do that, and you have to perform those services according to your contract, your video, your music promotion, and all of those things. Now, as far as the street level, I don't know if he did or not. But when it comes to producing those videos out there on the streets, it's a whole level that you have to get in. And if the people on those levels find out that some other aspect is preventing them from coming in and doing that video shoot, they'll address them and make them check in with them. Yep. If they really want to get that video done. But okay. Next caller.
Caller, you live.
Hey, yo, it's good. This is Tony calling in from Texas. I'm from Southwest Houston, Texas. I was just calling in to talk about Karen Civil. I don't know if y'all know that Karen Civil used to work with Cameron. She used to work with Cameron's and Jim Jones had a falling out, and they started kind of beefing with her because she supposedly was winning the office one day or something and took some money from Duke the God, because Duke the God used to produce these mixtapes for the diplomats for Dipset. And it was like Duke the God presents diplomatic immunity. And I don't know if anybody heard about that, but if you look it up, you go to YouTube, you'll see like there's a rapper named Uncasa. He used to be tied to Dipset. He used to date Karen Civil. He's talking about it. Jim Jones talk about it a lot. And Cameron, he talks about it.
Right.
Like, I guess she's kind of
so what's your question about Karen Civil?
I was just calling to just drop that info on you guys.
Okay. I feel you. Appreciate that, my brother.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's something to look into. Thanks. We appreciate it. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Next question.
Caller, you on there?
What's up, Hood? What's up, Miss Renee?
Hi, how are you?
On?
Hey, this is Truly. How you doing, Hood? Want to see you like love and respect everyone in the chat. I just had a quick question for Miss Renee.
Okay.
Okay, so do you think that with all of the inconsistencies with Cowboy's story that he could be implicated and held in contempt of court since he was under oath, and then on video telling one story, then on paperwork telling another story? And if so, do you think that there's a way that we could do like a civil arrest if that exists in Los Angeles for Tanisha Foster?
Now, as far as Cowboy being in contempt, I think it would be more like perjury.
Appreciate the truth.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yeah, I think it would be more like, thank you for calling. I appreciate it. It would be more like perjury if they was to catch him in a lie on stand. I don't know if they would necessarily call it contempt, but it would be more like perjury. And if you do perjure yourself on stand, you can be held accountable for that, and you can be punished for that. Now, as far as a civil arrest about the other things, that I'm really not sure of. Civil arrest can be performed, but in this case, I can't necessarily say that you can do that. But a civil arrest is meaning if you see somebody doing something wrong to somebody, let's just say you see somebody being raped, you can come in and, try to stop that act from occurring. That would be a civil arrest. Hold the person till the police get there and so on and so forth. But you have to visualize, you have to be present while a crime is being committed in order to do so. So I really can't say regarding that as far as a civil arrest goes.
Caller, you on there?
Hi, my name is Wendy, and I'm calling from Minnesota. I have been following you ever since this has been going on.
Appreciate
and you. I have,
Thank you.
Pardon me?
I say appreciate you.
Hello?
I said.
Oh, yeah. And I was looking over on YouTube, and I see someone named Real Field TV. They had posted something about Black Sam and how the marathon is continuing. And he also had where it's saying that Black Sam knows who shot his brother, and that it was over something. I mean, just check it out. It's called Real Field TV, and he's saying that it was over Nipsey sleeping with someone that's not in the streets, but he's in the field, and that he slept with his wife, and the wife's supposed to be pregnant. I don't know if it's just rumor to throw us off, or if it's something that needs to be looked into.
Appreciate you calling for calling in.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Next question.
Y'all call in, call in.
These are some very good points that people are bringing up, because there's not necessarily one way to the truth, or at least one way to the understanding of what's going on here. And it is surely something that has to be examined from different perspectives, because this is not just something that's just opened up a can of worms for nothing. There's a lot more going on here. It really is.
Caller, you live.
Yeah, Hood, this Chicago calling back. I have one more question.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know why RZA Islam hasn't been questioned, because he went on that live saying a whole lot of stuff.
I would say, yeah, thanks for calling. He should be out there questioned. He should be questioned. He should be just as much a part of that transcript as anyone else. If your intent, prosecutor, LAPD, if your intent is to do a thorough investigation, then when you get this information, they see it, and these people should be pulled in. Now, we don't know if there are going to be additional witnesses when the trial comes up, but from the grand jury testimony, there should have been more people in there. Him, the lady that was getting in and out of that car, surely her. I even say some of the police officers. People should have been questioned surrounding that. There just should be more people in there. But the prosecutor is the one who has to prosecute and bring those people in. And if that prosecutor is being relaxed like that, it leaves too much room for not necessarily a positive outcome.
Caller, you on?
Yeah, what's up, Hood?
What's going on with you?
Not a whole lot, man. I just want to say that I appreciate what y'all doing for Nip, and is trying to just keep the dialogue open and keep the ball rolling. So I just want to. At what point does this man works in the hood trump the color situation as far as red and blue, or blue on blue? Like, if you're doing all this good in the neighborhood with the kids, and you doing everything, you're helping brothers on both sides of the fence, at what point do you get a pass? Or do you not get a pass? Or, I mean, how does it work? Because to me, it's like a no-brainer. Like, for him to be doing so much good in the hood and helping people and being inspiring people. I mean, if it was just a situation where it was just a gang situation, I mean, I feel like he should have got a pass, man. You know what I mean? I think it's bigger than that, but I don't understand it, man. It's crushing to my spirit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you, caller. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I understand what he's saying. He's saying, for as much good as he's doing, thank you for calling. For as much good as he's doing, you would think, and his efforts in trying to bring people together, that he would have been left alone. Even if, however, the call may have come to end his life, you just would think that the call wouldn't have come based on his efforts and what he was trying to do there. But because of what he was trying to do is the reason why the call came. And we'll talk about that in other info sessions. At least what I believe it to be. Next caller.
Call in, call in. You on the air, caller?
Good talk.
What's going on?
All right, how you doing, Renee?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
All right, just had a quick question. I was
Okay.
concerned about what Miss Benita with the 38 said that Kerry Lathan, he maxed out. So if he maxed out, then there was never no violation of parole that he stated in all of his testimonies.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, what was the real reason they went over there and arrested him? Obviously, he got immunity. So when they took him from that halfway house with the money that the guy gave him, why did they arrest him? What for? And it had to have been something that they arrested him for with this case.
Appreciate you
Is
calling.
it? Well, as I said before, I'm not so sure that that was a true arrest. Now, this is just my speculation and my analysis of it. They can pull you in and say it's for an arrest, and that might not really be the intent. They can pull you in and say, hey, we want to communicate with you. We want to understand what went on out there. But the way to pull you back in so we don't create speculation or any suspicion is to say we're pulling you back in for this type of violation. Because they're saying it doesn't mean it necessarily had to exist. It's just that we want to get you back in here with us. Because when he left out, he had a whole lot of protection with that attorney. When he left out, and goes to court, he gets immunity. Why? Why would he get immunity? To our understanding, he's just a victim. He's someone who got shot and was laying out on the ground. So if he's going to give you that testimony, what reason would you have to grant him immunity for that? So all of that's questionable, because usually immunity is applied to people who may have participated in a crime. And they may be a smaller fish and they're trying to get to the bigger fish. So they'll grant the smaller fish the immunity to get that testimony so they can get to the bigger fish. But to our understanding and what they presented is that he was injured. So all of that's questionable. Going back in to, based on a violation, they claim, coming out and then getting immunity. All of that's questionable surrounding Kerry Lathan. Very questionable.
Caller, you on? You on, caller?
Hello? Hi. This is Sharon
Hello?
calling from Maryland. I have a question. When Nipsey's family... Hello?
Yeah, we here.
Yes.
Okay. My question is, his mother talked about the scene when she got there and the officer in which she spoke with, Officer Resurrection.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Have anybody looked into that? Because he was supposed to have been arrested for selling illegal guns? Or do we know that to be true?
Yes, he was. He was arrested for selling illegal guns. And yes, it is true. What happened is he appealed it. And I'm going to talk about, pardon me?
No, go ahead, Renee. I would tell
you. No.
I would talk
Okay. And he appealed that decision. Based on that appeal, he was reinstated in his position. So there are a lot of things about him. I do have information that's going to come through one of our info sessions regarding him. But yes, he was terminated. He did sell the guns. And actually, from what I read, from what I understand it to be, there was another cadet who was underage on the police force. And Resurrection had a handgun and wanted to sell it. Well, the person who wanted to receive the gun is 19. He's underage. So there was someone else who the underage cadet knew who was of age. So Resurrection sold the gun to that person, but the one who was of age, but it wasn't through a licensed dealer. He wasn't supposed to do that. And he surely wasn't supposed to do that as a police officer. They investigated him. They terminated him. He filed a suit against the city of Los Angeles. It went through litigation and went through some other procedures, which we will get into. But they did terminate him, but they brought him back. And I will give you the reasons as to why they brought him back and the other activities that was going on inside the police department at that particular time. But we'll get into that in one of the info sessions. So that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that out.
You on, caller?
Yo, what's up, Hood Talk?
What's good?
Man, I'm calling in, checking in with you, man. I'll be watching your program, brother, and it's good to see that we got people out here like yourself that's willing to put a lot of things on the line to put the truth out there. And I don't mean to cut you off, but I come from a similar background that I hear you talking about, as far as having to deal with the street life and all the parameters that come with it. So if you're blessed to be like my age, which is 40, and I could tell that you're an older brother with a lot of sense. So if we blessed to be at this stage, that means we've been through the fire.
That's right.
Not to say that there won't be no more fires,
right.
But we've been through enough to give experiences to the youth and to older people to let them know that, hey man, we in this together. What you've been through, I've been through it too. Let's not hate on each other. Let's try to get some solutions out of it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But my name is Paul, man, and I go by different names on Facebook and this YouTube. But it's just good to call in, man, and see how and put the word out there, bro. You feel me? This Nipsey Hussle thing, it touched me real deep, man, because I wasn't following the brother, but at the same time, I could really look at it from the full view of that. A lot of things came into play with that. Hating brothers from out his circle, but you can't pull that off without some authority figures, man, that got power, which comes from the government and these local and state officials. So
that's right. That's right.
Brothers could talk that hood. The hood did it all day. The hood did it. The brothers around them did it. But you can't pull that kind of assassination off without people that have the power to manipulate masses of people, which they have done.
Right.
That's very true.
That's right.
And I heard you talk. I heard you talk about you trying to get active in on these streets, man, and try to get in tune with some solutions on how we can unify. And I feel strongly about that. I'm with you on that, brother. And we need to start doing more acting than not you. I'm talking about in general, all of us together in unity and one. We need to do more action than talking. Like, we need to find meet places. We need to find curriculums that we gonna start going by. Because there's a lot of ideas out there, but we got to get the people in the.
Right.
We got to get the people
And basically, what we trying to do is we start here. We eventually gonna get to all that, but we starting here. We trying to build this up a little more. You know what I'm saying? To get a little more people on in here before we make a move. That way, we'll be a real force. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's right, and that's why I decided to have these info sessions, these information sessions, so we can do. Thank you for calling in. So we can do exactly that, because of where we are now, in July up to August 29th, when the next action takes place in that court, we can't remain stagnant in this process. We're going to have to be educated. And that's why I said I'm going to step up to bring this information and be consistent and get people up to par. But we have to also understand what action is. Action, when you speak on these topics and when we're having these conversations, that's action. And we have to recognize that as well. So we don't knock down the conversations that we exchange with one another. I'm not saying anybody's doing that, but I'm just stating that action is not just getting out and meeting. Action is also doing the things that we're doing now, so we can have valid conversation that comes through, like the gentleman just mentioned, valid ideas. We are at we're beyond maybe the beginning stage, but we're at the beginning of some other stages. So it is coming. It's coming, and we are unifying, and we're going to get there, and more information will be put out to you guys, because understand the people want action in their hand and ideas and what we're doing next. I get that. But also be patient with us in our process.
Call you on.
Yo, Hood, yo, man, I ain't mean to just call you right back, but I ain't really familiar on how this live stuff work, man, because I don't be on that technology like that, like I heard you say. But like I heard you say, like, appreciate you calling, and then it just hung up. That's how it end, like, that's how it's over with after that?
Yeah. When I'm on, right now, this Renee segment, when I'm on, you know what I'm saying, I let callers go a little longer, but we trying to get in, a lot of people trying to answer questions, so we letting everybody, speak their piece, and then, we get right to the next call on this segment with Renee.
No, that's right. I just wanted to get an understanding because I ain't know what happened.
Oh, okay.
The call just dropped. You like,
Hey, my bad. Yeah, I thought you had done hung up first, though. That's why I had done hung up.
And I want to say thank you.
Thank you for
You
calling
gave some
back,
very
bro.
valid points. Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate that. Very valid points.
With some of the issues I talked to you about, just stay in tune with you and see where we get with it.
That's right.
Okay, hang in here with us. Thank you.
I'm talking about seriously, bro, because I heard you mention it, but I'm actively on these streets, on the grounds and back blocks. So I know how to mobilize and connect.
Text me. Huh? Text me so I can lock your number in. Text
it to this number?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Text me.
Right, got
and we'll chop it up a little later. Offline.
That's a bet.
All right.
Peace.
Next caller.
Yeah, you good.
So we are going to, and we are putting things in place. So I say, because it's a lot of different conversations that go on sometimes at the same time. So I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of separate some of the conversations in info sessions. So when we're on that particular topic and people have questions about that particular topic, maybe we can get the answers to them on that particular topic at that particular time in that conversation. So we are working on those right now.
You on the air, caller?
Yes, hi, Mr. Hood.
What's going on?
Hey, Miss Renee, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you? Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
I'm pretty good, thank you. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Chester. I am calling because in the meanwhile, I heard the conversation that they'll be going back into the courtroom. You said late August 29?
Yes, August 29, yes.
Okay, so in the meanwhile, would it be efficient for all of us in the chat, the entire family, would that be okay to send emails to the Attorney General of California and also to the 40th Governor of California as well?
Yes.
Lieutenant Governor, all the officials, because just looking at everything, if the LAPD is not doing their job accordingly, we need some higher ups to come in.
Exactly. Yes.
So my question would be, the other day we had 662 people in the chat from Europe, Alaska, all parts of the world was calling in, and that was sticking into the chat. And I'm just thinking to myself, if we could get the higher ups to come in and investigate during that time, because there's so much corruption. Previously, and I'm not going to say allegedly, because in the past it was proven, but at this time I will use the word allegedly, because now it just seems like things are being finagled around. 1 minute you're looking at a camera, you'll see one thing, and then you'll see something else. So I just wanted to put that bug in your ear. If we could all come together and begin sending emails, I'll put the Attorney General's name.
Thank you.
Kamala D. Harris. And also, I'll put the governor's name and the lieutenant governor's name in the chat. You know, everybody could go in and Google the name and find out the email address. So we could start sending out flags, just letting everybody know this is how a portion of the world is feeling. And I just want to go, before I go, I just want to say, Hood Talk News, I love you. I love you, and I appreciate everything that you're doing, giving us this platform. You guys are family. Everybody in the chat is family. Miss Renee, you rock.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let
Thank
you go.
you. Appreciate
Have
that.
a blessed one.
Thank you.
Have a blessed one, okay?
All right.
Yes, thank you so much. And she's absolutely correct. She's absolutely correct. And that's what I've been saying. Action comes in a lot of forms. And actually, the information she's telling you is information I was going to give out in the info sessions. But we do, from now until August 29th, we cannot remain stagnant. We do have to communicate to the powers that be, the Attorney General, Congress, if necessary, and I think it's necessary, and all the way up through the chain, the mayor, the city council. You know, you can still contact the LAPD to let them know too, because they're supposedly doing an internal investigation. Let them know. We like to know what's the outcome, all the way up the chain. Because always remember, let me just say it like this: shit rolls down, not up. So we have to be mindful of the process, and any and everyone in this process should receive some communication consistently. We cannot remain stagnant. We can't sit back and wait until the date comes and just sit back and say, what are they going to say? No. We have to make our presence known. And I've been saying that from the beginning. We have to be consistent on that. Stay on topic in our conversations. Have people call in like she just did and say this is a process, because it is. And we have to do that. I have been communicating that. And we've been communicating it all along. And this information you can look up. You know, the police, LAPD, the mayor, city council, the governor, the attorney general, and we can go further if need be. Because we are citizens and we have a right to do so.
Caller, you live. You live, caller. Guess they didn't want to talk. Y'all call in, call in. Call in, call in.
Yeah, because we are at a critical stage in this. We are. So we have to galvanize ourselves and communicate and let our voices be heard regarding this assassination. We have to do that. Don't be afraid. You know, I'm not saying that you are afraid. I'm just saying don't be and concerned of some kind of backlash or anything by communicating to these officers. You can send an email, you can call, and let them know that we are interested in this. And let them know your concerns about the way things are being handled or not handled by the LAPD. Because if they get enough communication, people will step in. And they will examine them. Because they're not beyond reproach. They're not.
Caller, you live.
Good afternoon, panel. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
Miss Renee, I'm fine. This is military wife. It's Karen.
Hi, how you doing? How you doing over there? You all right? So good to talk to you.
I'm doing good. It's good to talk to you too, Miss Renee. Very good to talk to you. Miss Renee, I came in a little bit late and I was listening to like you say, we shouldn't be stagnant just because there's a lapse in when they go to court. I agree and I concur wholeheartedly. I wanted you to know that whatever you needed me to do, no matter what it is, research, whatever, let me know. And I'm there. I'm down for it. As well as Uncle Peaches and Auntie Hood. As well as Peaches. I'm there for them as well. But I wanted to. I see that a lot of. I'm noticing that there's still a lot of our men that are very concerned about taking action right away, right now, because you're tired. And what I want you to realize is that I don't feel like you're seeing the progress that is being made. Sometimes things happen in the quietness and stillness of the night. There are many changes that have been made. Now, you may see them as other things, but we at Hood Talk Family know exactly what changes were made. We know exactly when they were made. We also know why they were made. So we know how to get what we want done. So the writing campaign, when you start your request, make sure you request locally, but you are requesting for them to make sure that you seek outside authority. You want someone out of Quantico. It cannot be anyone local that's investigating locally.
That's right.
It's already been proven with just the citizens of the state itself. It's been proven that they're not, we're not sure. So since we're not sure, certainly nobody not going to get no fair trial, because if I ain't sure, all y'all going down. I ain't let nobody out. So we prefer if you do your sweep, and let's get higher up intelligence to come down here and do a sweep. And at that point, we can feel comfortable in what's going on, because it's a lot of things that are being brought out right now. There's still so many people bringing things out again that doesn't make sense, but that's on them. We're not to be swayed. We've done that. We've been there, done that, as they say. We listen to all and try to understand. My main concern is Black Sam, and that's because I did see somewhere that the brother isn't, of course, we know how he felt, that was his brother. There's nothing that has happened that he didn't tell us. He told us at the funeral, if he had been there, he would have bust. That's right. His brother. So I understand that. I also want you guys to be mindful of Miss Angelique. Miss Angelique is speaking to us, but she's also trying to calm us so that we don't overreact. Don't take her words for granted or change them around by saying, because she said resurrection, that mean he alive. No, that's that police officer's name.
Sure is.
Okay? That's his name.
It sure
not
is.
What that means. Stop taking these little bitty things and giving false hopes. Right now, it's not what she needs. And I'm speaking from experience. When you lose a loved one, it's nothing more in this world that I would love to have than that loved one back. But for you to keep saying he's back and I know he's gone, that's hurtful. So we've got to be mindful. I know Hood Talk Family isn't doing that. But what I would like for Hood Talk Family to do in the nicest way possible, when you go to the other platforms and you see them doing that, ask them, please don't refer to the child or refer to him being alive. That's your opinion, but let's not do that. And the reasoning behind it. Perhaps they'll understand, because that is someone's child. Definitely someone's child. We're all, right now, I really feel the family we're close, and as close as we can be. And I appreciate that. So I called in specifically to tell Hood, Peaches, Renee, Henry, OG, Charlie, Benita, Truly, Spartan, Merrill, and there's so many more of you guys, that you are my backbone. You have made me have a purpose. I would not have known 3 weeks ago, just 3. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was just hurt. But you helped me redirect that anger and that passion to something worth, meaningful, and meaning more. So that's why I say I'm here. If you need me, give me a call. Let me know. Don't let it fall to the wayside. I am
I
a
will.
night person. It does not matter the day, time, or hour. Let me know. I'm always available to you. And if I can't do it for you, I promise you I can find someone who will.
Oh, thank you
So
so
I want
much,
us
and I
to
will.
just stick together, guys. I appreciate you all, and I love everybody.
Love you too. And before you go, I was mentioning that we were going to have info. We were going to have info sessions to address different segments of our conversation, and one of them was going to be on grief, because I know that we're grieving this process as well. So if you can chime in, because I am also where you are and have been where you are. So I think that this is a significant part of what's going on here. If we could just have an opportunity to grieve in a session, to talk about that aspect and what is triggering in us, I think that would help us get to the next point as well. So we will be in communication, and I really sincerely appreciate you calling in, and I love you. And I'm thankful that you're here.
I love you too. And you can get my number, Peaches. I'm sorry, Lord Jesus.
It's okay. We're family. It's all right.
Uncle Hood and Auntie Peaches, you can get my number. Okay. Right. I love you guys.
I'll call you.
I'm going back in so I can learn.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Military wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Comments?
Call in, y'all. Call in. The line's wide open.
And this is why conversations like that, hearing that, is why this platform is so important, and why it is so much more than just people coming on talking. People are bringing themselves and their souls and their experiences to Hood Talk News, and they're feeling welcome here at Hood Talk News, because you are welcome. All of us are welcome. And those who may sit back and may not necessarily participate through the chat, who may not call in, you're welcome too. We love you too. So we are here for you, and we're going to have these different conversations because we're a family, and we need to be open to what this family is experiencing. Next caller.
Caller, you live.
All right. I appreciate. Just first, I want to say, man, I appreciate everything that y'all doing, and and the platform that y'all have created. But I just want to know, man, like, why is nobody really making a point about what was going on at the video shoot, and why they had to amp up security and things of that nature? I think that's, looking into that would be pretty significant, because obviously at that point I would think that somebody knew something. They might not have knew, names and this, that, and the third, but I would think somebody, Khaled or John Legend or whoever on that, somebody knew something on a massive level for them to feel like they had to get security to lock certain things down. And obviously, in my heart, I feel like Nip knew something. I want to think, I've had conversations, with some of my guys myself, and like, I want to feel like that, Nip might have been getting phone calls. He might have been getting certain texts. He might not know who it was, and somebody felt like in the beginning somebody might have been playing with him, but then after a while, he's starting to, peep out certain things and like, okay, wait a minute, something ain't right around here. Because sometimes, man, when things ain't going right in your spirit, or some things ain't going right around you. And, and probably at the last minute, he may have figured out, like, wait a minute, something ain't right. And at that point, it's too late, because with everything that's going on and the information, a whole bunch of information that's out there, some of them I believe is false, but some of it I think has some merits to it. It almost looked like, man, what could he have done? I mean, eventually something they was gonna get him. I think there's a lot of layers to it. I think there's a lot of moving pieces to it. But just from a street sense, I mean, even then, I even told one of my partners, I'm like, man, listen.
Your phone breaking up. Your phone going out.
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, with the whole, look at him tell me he wasn't no quote unquote triple OG out there. He ain't no shot caller. So my thing is, it's either one or two things. Either you just lost your mind, you just went out there and you just did what you did, or you had enough gall for somebody behind you.
Your phone going out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Well, but yeah, I just, I know I said a lot right there, but I just want to know why, nobody really speaking on the whole video shoot thing and looking more into that as far as, who knows what.
Appreciate you, caller. She gonna answer you right now. Appreciate you.
Thanks for calling in.
Then. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. You made some very good points. The people who were supposed to look into that shoot, it's the LAPD. That was supposed to be a part of their investigation. If he was getting any kind of threats from any aspect of his life, they were supposed to look into it. But see, what they did was they just went straight hood. They just went straight gang. Nipsey Hussle, Ernest Ascadon, is a business owner. He's also in the music industry. He's a Grammy-nominated artist. Now, those are perspectives they should have gone through. For instance, you got killed in front of your business. Okay, what in his history of being a business owner could have sparked this? Okay, he's an artist. He's a Grammy-nominated artist. What could be in that history that could have sparked this? Oh, there were some threats coming through a video shoot. Okay, I'm an investigator. I'm supposed to investigate that because that could be related to his death. But if you're not interested in knowing it, if you know what happened to him, or if you are a part of it and you have knowledge of what went down in his assassination, you're not going to look it up. You will let it go. My analogy, if that had happened to the owner of Walmart up in Beverly Hills, and that Walmart owner, president, CEO, had received some death threats, and they found out after the person was assassinated, they would have gone to video shoot and any other type of activity that they participated in previously and found out what was going on. But it's because it's Nipsey Hussle. How they negated that information, which means how they ignored that information in video shoot, we just gonna go hood. It's regarding snitching. That's the narrative they gave us. This is what it's about. It's not about anything else. They want us to stay right there. They want us to consider that it was only snitching. And because of this, we are not going to go any further. And when it got out of the hands of the police department over to that prosecutor, they're supposed to pull information and evidence from all aspects. That prosecutor should have pulled in everybody at that video shoot and brought them down and questioned them too. Everybody. And them phone records will tell you who was calling in there. They was there. And didn't they have police officers over there? If they had LA police officers, you don't even have to go that far. All you got to do is go to the police station and ask them, were you aware that these calls came in? Unless one of them was making them, or whoever out there could have been making them. They could track that if they want to. It doesn't appear that they want to. Next caller.
Caller, you on there?
Yeah, this is good. I got two days in a row. I want to say hello to the family. And I agree with Mr. Renee saying in the caller before him, this thing was done on film, and we just left to try to figure it out on our own, and then I just keep going back to you got shot callers, meaning nothing can go down without seeing the top man. So how you running around talking about it's your hood and everything? You basically just saying it couldn't have went down without your permission. This is the thing that I don't want us to lose track on, how we able to see this thing unfold on film. Then we get to see shot callers coming on, making videos, and then something is not right here. All this stuff can just go down like that. They need to call in some more people. They got to have some more witnesses or something. We just going to have to stay on it. That's all we can do is just stay on top of it and make sure it stays relevant.
That's right.
Because that's what they didn't expect.
That's right.
That's right.
I wanted to say that to the family.
Okay, appreciate
Thank you.
Caller.
You're absolutely correct. Okay. We have to stay on top of it.
Love you.
Yeah, thank you. Love you too. You know, we love these calls coming in because this information that you are giving us is very valid, and it lets us know that people are looking at this differently. You know, you're going to come in, you're going to put this on film. You have these other people who are closely connected to them walking around, and nobody's questioning these people and pulling them in. All of them should be in there. All of them should be questioned because this is, as they say, a neighborhood, and this is a crime that happened in the hood. Then you pull people in if you want to find the truth. It doesn't appear that they do unless they already know the truth. Next
Caller, you live, caller.
Yo,
Turn your device down in the background.
Yeah, I took it down.
What's
How you
good?
doing, Miss Renee?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I was just calling, like, I heard you guys talking on the matters of the grief and also on the matters of the surrounding of the video shoot. I was also saying that as well. I honestly, in my heart, believe, like, I said this to my fiance before, I believe Nipsey knew, because I look at it like this, I just look at it as a common sense thing. You know, like, I know maybe people, I want to go on and on. I look at it, Nipsey took those bullets because they were either going to touch someone in his family he did not want to be touched, or someone they was going to expose something of him even more. I don't know if they were threatening Lauren, threatening his father, threatening his kids. I just believe the inner circle hood ventures, somebody had to give that a green light. And the other matters, I was looking into his business partner, the David Gross, and, you know, the Karen Civils, like we're all talking about. I was looking at it that David Gross is actually looking to break down the Marathon store and actually put a 6-floor development inside where the Marathon store is. Do you guys know about that? Have you guys heard about that?
I've heard about it. What they both were in agreement to do, from what I understand and what I read and researched, that they were actually going to build on top of that building and put apartments and things on top. That was supposedly an agreement between both of them, from what I understand. That was part of his real estate goal. And then they were going to revamp the Marathon store as well. Yes.
And also that casino that they were looking to invest in Las Vegas as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what if Nip was reneging and didn't want to go forth, and you know they had to do what they had to do and take him out?
Appreciate your caller. She gonna answer you.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for calling in. I am aware of the fact that, from, like I said, looking into it, that there were, they being Gross and Nipsey, were planning on revitalizing that area. And part of that plan, the real estate plan, was to build apartments and complexes above the Marathon store, kind of almost like a high-rise type of thing. So, yes, they were interested in doing that. Now, as far as reneging and them taking them out, this was a plan of his to do. This is what he wanted to do. This was a goal of his. And I can't speak for him in that regard as far as totally what he may have been thinking. But from a business perspective, I would think that it's not something he wanted to renege on, because he could see the profit in it and the benefit of having those buildings on top of the Marathon store, revitalizing the Marathon store, the business that it would bring to the area. I don't think he would have reneged on it. I think the only reason why he's not going to be able to accomplish it is because he was assassinated. I think if he was alive, he wouldn't be reneging. He would have been moving forward to make sure it got done.
Y'all call in.
Because Nipsey, you know, and I'm saying Nipsey because, you know, this is how we know him. I prefer to say Ernest Ascadon, but Nipsey, he is a real estate mogul. He had plans, and I say is still because just because you're deceased, if you still own that property until it's transferred into someone else's name. So he is a real estate mogul. He put things in place so he could build upon that, which made him powerful, which made him a threat in many other ways. When you become a threat outside of hood, then you become a threat to other powers that be. And he had the power to shift the economic status of that area. That's not just hood. It's not. When he had to open up his business and get a business license, he didn't go to not one of the people in that neighborhood for them to say, hey, you can have this business here. No. He had to go down to, for what I understand, how it goes in California, a finance office, and he has to get a business license. They give him a tax credit thing, on it. He gets his business license number, and he's licensed through the state. That's not hood. He shifted himself out of the hood. He just had businesses in the hood. He stayed connected to the hood, but once you start opening up businesses in the hood, you're not just hood anymore. You're not. Not according to the government. Now, maybe to the people in the neighborhood, yes. But to the government, no. So I hope you all understand when I'm telling you, he became a threat in other ways altogether. And then he surpassed the LAPD. He probably surpassed the majority of the people in their salaries. You don't think they were mad and jealous about that? Here I am, I've been harassing you since you're a young boy, and now you're a multimillionaire. You own your own business. You own this lot. You get ready to build more. You're connected to the city council. You got Vector 90, and I'm just a police officer over here with the same salary I had 10 years ago. 10 years ago, same salary. You don't think they were jealous too? They were envious too, and other people too. So he probably had a lot of envy around him, but he had enough good around him to make him want to stay. He had a right to go in his business and be in front of his business and not be assassinated.
Caller, you on now? You on now, caller?
Hey, Hood. Hey, Miss Renee.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing okay.
That's good. I came across a video last night from another channel called No Filter News and Talk with Ingrid. And she brought up something that I thought was real interesting, how Kerry, when he first did his first interview, and he was talking, I guess someone had asked him about his kids or something, and he mentioned he only had a daughter, and turned out to find out that he also has a son, Kerry Latham Jr., and Kerry, the day he got arrested, his son got arrested too, and he got, they both got out of jail the same day. You think maybe his son may have something to do with it too, because he never brought his son up?
I think the son's still in jail.
That's what I thought so too. I thought he was still in jail. I didn't know that he got out.
The video she showed that I guess she had it online or something, but she showed that they both got out at the same time, but went in the same day.
So your question is, do I think he may have had something to do with the assassination? Is that your question?
Yeah.
If he was out there, they're all suspect to me. If he was out there, they're all suspect. I would say he probably knows something, yes. Yeah, so to me, if you know it and you out there and you hide and you conceal it, you're just as guilty. So yes, I think he probably does know, because I think his father knows. His father got immunity. I'm sure he's talked things over with his son, his family members. Before he got immunity, he probably had conversations with him. Do you think I can go down here and get immunity? What do you think I should do? Because you have to understand, Kerry Latham was in jail for many, many years. So he would have to have conversations with people, because he hasn't been out here to talk about what could be going on now, how to approach things or anything like that. But they knew he didn't know what he was talking about. That's why they gave him that attorney when he came from supposedly violating his parole. They knew we better give him something, because he don't know how to present nothing. So let's go ahead so we can make sure whatever we need to be hidden and concealed can maintain just the way we want it to be. So possibly does his son know? Yeah, Probably. I wouldn't put it past him knowing. He's Carrie's son. So, yeah. Yeah.
Y'all
Next caller.
Hold on, hang on. Call in.
Yeah, because it was too many people out there for all of them not to be detained and questioned. Too many people. Too much activity. And being questioned, being questioned too. I mean, I think a lot of people should have been down there, in that grand jury. Not because I think that they're necessarily guilty, but just to be able to say, what was Nipsey Hussle doing? What was Ernest Ascadon doing earlier that day? What was he doing the day before? What was he doing a couple of days before? I mean, we need to know that too. We need to know about what he was doing and what's in his life. Now, is that to come? I'm not sure, but the testimonies that they put on record is so vital because that information will be put before any juror that comes down there, or even if it's just the judge. That's why they pulled the wool over our eyes. That was a snake move, as they say. Not holding that preliminary hearing and just sending it straight to the grand jury. Next question.
You on, Henry?
Hey, Miss Renee. Hey, Hood. Hey, Peaches. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing fine, Mr. Henry. This is the Mr. Henry?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Hi, Mr. Henry. You did a very good job Sunday. I'm so proud of you, which I didn't doubt that I knew you would. I knew you would.
I appreciate it. That's them prayers that you sent out for me. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I had to deliver, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate the prayers that you sent out for me. I appreciate that.
That's right.
I do it all the time. That's right.
I got a question. I mean, I just got off the phone with some people too. I'm looking into this case in Louisiana about Walter Reed and his convictions. That's a whole nother subject. We'll get on that another day. But I want to see, Ms. Renee, am I crazy, or was there some magical bullets there? Because as I look at the video, he shot down about 4. I give him 5 little jerks of the arm, right? I give him that with the 3 initial, and then he came back with 2 more. I give him those. I'm wondering, and I want to know your opinion on, how did he end up with 11 bullet shot wounds or gunshot wounds? And just looking at the video, he only shot down like 4 or 5 times. So I'm just trying to see whether there's some magical bullets out there or something, or what happened.
So you're thinking it's okay. I think, as I said, as far as all that, now you're saying 11. Some people are saying 10. So that's an extra one to me, right? And I'm not negating what you're saying. I'm just saying that's even one more even. Mm-hmm. When he came in, I think, this is just my analysis, that it could have likely been some other things going on. We don't know because they're not being totally honest about all of these bullets that went on out there. Because were there bullets other places? Were there bullets in the cars? Where are all these shots coming from? Because if you look at him, you kind of almost can count, at least you think based on it being foggy, how many shots may have come out. How many may have come out. The coroner said that Nipsey Hussle died from, Ernest Ascadon died from 5 gunshots to the torso and 1 to the head. Now, where's that information? Because now we're hearing about all these other shots that went out. But Eric Holder went in there with 2 guns. So the question would be, if these are the 2 guns he used, which did they really say that they found the guns? Well, let's just say they do. We need to know how many chambers are in those guns. And we need to match the amount of chambers that could be in those guns to the amount that may have been released into Nipsey Hussle and everybody else so they claim were shot. That would help us to understand. But they're not doing a good investigation. Because we should know.
With the caliber, with the caliber, I'm sorry, with the caliber of the bullet, that would make a difference in the case too, right? If it
Absolutely.
2 different calibers of bullets.
Not only different, what type? Let's just say hypothetically.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. We want to find out what type of bullets were used, and they do have that information because they pulled bullets from his body. Now, police department use certain types of bullets. They do. So if these bullets, these type of bullets that we use or have the capable of obtaining to use are inside of him, then that can lead us back to the LAPD. If these other bullets, the first bullets that were released, were only like blank bullets or bullets just to get somebody down, and that type of bullet is inside of Kerry Latham, then that'll let us know that he came in and just shot these bullets just to get him down. But you know how they eliminate us really knowing about them bullets? They gave the bullet an alibi. The bullet's caught inside of Kerry. It can't get out because it's near my spine. As I said before, if it was me, I would go in with an x-ray, an MRI. We would go in and we find out what kind of bullets are inside of him. Because the bullets have their own story, and that story could lead us to the truth. The story could lead us to the truth.
They had to be purchased, or they had to be given either to the police.
That's right.
They had to been given in their log, or somebody has a log of those bullets somewhere.
First of all, they could trace where the guns come from because they have serial numbers on them. So do those bullets. Mm-hmm. They could trace all of that back. But as you know, they've never said anything like that. Like the analogy that I use. When that shooter was in Las Vegas and he shot those people, they went back to his home and found all of those guns in his home, and they went to his brother's house. They have done no trace on those guns. Even when I looked through the transcripts, they went to his home, didn't find any guns, and that was the end of the sentence. But first of all, I think they're not doing the proper investigation because they know. I'm just asking questions. I believe they know. But they can find out about those guns. You have a felon, Eric Holder, coming down with 2 guns in the city, killing people, shooting people, killing one, right? Assassination. And you're not investigating those guns? You're claiming it's gang activity. Wouldn't you want to be concerned if these gangs have these guns in your hand? If you're doing a proper investigation, then why not? Why aren't you looking into them? Well, the guns have to have bullets in order to commit the crime that he did. Well, where did the bullets come from? Because the guns can come from one direction, so we need to know if somebody's selling guns, and the ammunition can come from another. We need to know who's selling ammunition, and it ends up on the streets like this. And it's involved in an assassination. But when you're not concerned about who died, you're not concerned about how it happened, you're not going to look into it. Because they don't care. It don't seem like. Based on the transcript, Mr. Henry, when I was looking into it, when the police officer came on the scene, one of the police officers, the police officer went to Kerry and went to Shermy to see how they were doing. Now, 3 people are injured. You can see one is fatally injured or close to dying. And you go to Kerry and Shermy to see how they're doing. And then the prosecutor asked him, well, did you see 3 people? He said, the police officer said, yes. Well, who was the other person? Do you know him? He said, yeah. He said, well, did you go to him first? You know, he kind of looked at him and went over to the other 2 and asked them how they was doing. He didn't say anything in there about, yes, I called an ambulance, and all these other kind of things. But what really struck me is the prosecutor kind of left it. He said, no more questions. Wait a minute. You have a police officer not policing and not protecting, and he sees somebody shot with these types of injuries, and he goes and asks Kerry how he's doing? And he goes and asks Shermy how they doing? He's not attending to the one who's more seriously injured than these? And as a prosecutor, once you get to that point, you say no more questions. They know about them guns and those bullets, Mr. Henry. They know.
Wow.
Like I said, who did it? Who did it? And that's some information I'm going to give you all about Resurrection. I'm going to have an info session about him, and you'll find out some other people in LAPD was dealing with guns and stuff too. If it was me, let me tell you the people that I would investigate, Mr. Henry, if it was me. Because of Officer Resurrection's background and he was there, I would investigate him, and I would bring him in for questioning based on his background. You know who else I would bring in? I would bring in that police commissioner and that police chief, because they use the word assassination. Because if you ask people questions, doesn't necessarily mean that they're guilty of anything, right? You're just asking questions. Right. That's how it could be presented. Mm-hmm. They would come in too. Because this is more than just hood, Mr. Henry. This is more than just hood. Somebody else is involved in this. This is multi-layered. Ermias Ascadon was a prominent member of that community in many communities outside of just being hood. And that happens in front of his store, and you are not going to look into the guns and these bullets. Those bullets and those guns, Mr. Henry, have a story in and of themselves. And they can lead you to the truth if they want to know the truth, unless they already know it and just don't care. That's just my take on it.
So
what do you think about it?
Should be an investigation not only on Nipsey Hussle, but Ermias Ascadon as a businessman and Nipsey Hussle as a Grammy Award, Grammy nominated entertainer. So this really should be a real deep investigation to find out why he was assassinated. Okay.
Exactly, it should be from all of those perspectives. Yes,
well,
it
let
should
me get off the phone. I don't want to hold that. I hear him all the time. Ms. Renee, appreciate you. I love you. And
it's okay,
everything you do. Let me get off here and let everybody else have a chance. I know we can talk all day. But you can't get my information from Hood. Military wife, she's welcome to my information to Hood as she reaches out to you about it. You know what I'm saying? And that would be one.
All right.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Military wife, I need you to text me so I can lock your number in. Military wife. All right, him.
All right, y'all be good.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Y'all call in.
And is it a caller on?
Renee. We got Miss 38 Special, Renee.
Oh, no. Wait a minute.
Miss Benita.
Y'all ain't right. Y'all ain't right.
Miss 38
Wait a minute. Let me look around the corner first before I start talking. Hi, Miss Benita.
My sister.
I'm doing fine. How are you? It's good to talk to you.
I'm all right. I'm hiding in the coat closet because I got one more hour to go. Anyhow, look at girl. I find out something on them. I keep getting stuck on them cell phone records. Nipsey and them people that was at Cowboy. I've been trying to get his too. Cowboy and mainly Nipsey. And I keep running into a brick wall.
They probably put a block on them.
And they probably put a block on. Yeah,
they may have put a block on them. They might have put a block on them because they know. See, everybody, and I know you know this, Miss Benita. We are not just dealing with hood. We're not.
Yeah.
And we haven't never been just dealing with hood. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Miss Benita?
Yeah. Yes, I told hood. The judge just told me, what was it, yesterday, Judge? He said, Benita, that's higher up there. I don't know what the hell going on in L.A., but they got that lock, stock, and closed tight up there. He said, I'm going to find out what I can for you. But they got it closed tight. You know,
that's my point.
The police investigating the police in L.A.
And that investigation, like I said,
closed, sealed.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, little bits and pieces.
See, and
what the hell going on?
Yes, it's not just hood.
No, I'm trying. I don't even know what they said the last court date. What they say about the boy, about Eric Holmes. I ain't.
What they did, they filed. They didn't have what they did. The next court date, Miss Benita, is August 29th. And they filed, evidently one of the lawyers, probably the defense lawyer, filed a motion because information came out that there was an investigation ongoing regarding Nipsey Hussle over at his store. That's how they put it in writing. You know, Nipsey Hussle had an ongoing investigation. So when you have that information, as you know, if the prosecutor has the information and there's a trial coming up, then a defense attorney is privy, has the ability and the right to get all information from the prosecuting attorney. So if there's an investigation going on and we hear this, then evidently you have some documentation. I'm the defense attorney. I'm defending this client. I need to know, which is an aggressive move, and they should. But see, if I was the prosecutor,
I talked to the judge about. Now they say they have been investigating Nipsey Hussle, right? If you're investigating a baby, when you investigate somebody, you're watching them, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Then how the hell he gets killed and y'all watching him, y'all investigating him? That's something else to me. If you was investigating him, you could have stopped that murder before it happened.
If you wanted it stopped. Yeah. If that's what
he
you
was
wanted.
investigating you, so you watched him die? Because that's what I'm getting.
Absolutely.
Because this don't make no sense. Well, this the last thing I'm gonna get off here. OG Charlie trying to get in touch with y'all too. He said he got 2 crushes. Look,
okay.
Is them court cases closed? Is the court closed to the public?
Is it closed? It shouldn't be. You know, court? No, I don't think so. Now, normally it would not be closed, but if they want to conceal that information, the powers that be, they can come in and shut it down and say, "Don't give out this information." It is public information, and we should be able to get it through a Freedom of Information Act request. Those are public documents. But if the powers that be, that are above the powers that be, say you seal it up and don't get it out, then they're not going to do it. They probably put a block on his records, on those records, Miss Benita. I bet you they put a block on them.
But this is what I was wondering. Can you get, you say his court is what? August what?
August 29th.
I wanted to know, if I come, can I get in the courtroom?
Oh, yeah, you should be able to.
Public, you know, we can't nobody get in.
You know what? I don't know. We should be able to. We should be able to get in there. At this point, I don't think that there's a request. I don't know, because from now to then, the defense attorney could request to not have the public come in there. They can file that motion if they want to. To my knowledge right now, that has not happened, but they could. But the thing about it is the president still could be known, you know, as far as being out there. Yeah. But I don't know. Are they going to have a closed court trial? I don't know that. It could be requested, though. Yes, it can. I hope not, though. We really need to be pissed if they don't let us up in there this time. Not only will we be pissed, the newspapers and everybody else will be pissed. Because think about it, when they had those other high profile trials going on, they always let the cameras in LA.
Yeah,
you know?
This is like some other I ain't never seen. Ain't nothing in
That's
this
right.
case. Like nothing else. No other murder. Nothing. I'm telling you,
I haven't
LA,
either.
well, they something else. I'm trying to see. I just told the judge, I said, shit, I need to make a trip up there. I'm trying to see what's really going on. I'm tired of this second and third party. I like to sit there with my eyes and see on my own.
I'm like that too.
With my own
Me too.
ears, you know. See what's going on, because I just can't believe this. That boy,
they hide that
as famous as he was, as big as he was, and they doing this, you know.
That's right.
And then
he was too prominent.
Too much you gotta wear certain colors if you come to LA. Tell me you can't wear this color. Shit, I ain't with that. I was trying to come see with my 38. I was just gonna come wear the color I want to wear and see who come up on you, what happened, what they do, you know. I want to see if this really true. But this don't make no sense.
None at all.
This is too much.
It don't make any sense. It's too much.
Well, I ain't
it don't make
I'm
any
gonna let
sense.
somebody else get in there. OG is down there in the comments, say he got 2 crushes. So I said, if I get in, I'll let y'all know. Thank you, Renee.
Right,
Love you, sweetie.
Thank you. Love you too. Now, if you need anything, you want to talk, you know what to do. Go through Mr. Hood. We can talk. We can have our conversations. You know.
I'm gonna text you all their number. I'm gonna text you.
Okay.
If it's cool,
okay.
Miss Benita, I'm gonna text Renee your phone number.
Yeah, it is. Because like I told him, Renee, I got a collage, and I got notes of everything we talked about. And when the courthouse closed, we go in the judge's chamber and we discuss stuff. So, but I'm stuck right now. The last thing I was on was Carrie Lathan. I'm finished with that. Can't get no phone records. Every time I try to find out something about the court, it's sealed. You know, it's like I'm in a standstill.
They blocked
them. And they was like, what else you got for us, Benita? I said, shit, hold on. I got to find out some more, you know. But the girls is working with me. We trying to, you know, I say, shoot, 3-4 heads is better than one, you know. After I get off with y'all, be in there with them, and they be helping me, you know.
Thank you.
I go over my notes and be reading them and stuff, you know, looking up on the reading. Yeah. All right, I'm off here. Thank y'all.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Okay. All right.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So, you know, all of these perspectives and all of these skill sets coming together, we're going to get there. We're going to get there for sure.
Caller, you on the app, caller.
Hello?
Yeah, you on there?
Hi.
Oh, I was just listening to Renee. Hi, Renee.
Hi, how
I
are
just
you?
wanted to talk about the 2 days that they said they didn't see him or he was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know if you follow his Instagram, his god brother is Adam, and that's what his mom was talking about. That he went to Adam's birthday party on the 30th. Mm-hmm. He went to Adam's birthday party. He made an IG post wishing him a happy birthday. And I follow Pac-Man, and Pac-Man said after they came from his birthday party, the 30th, that night, him, Black Sam, and Pac-Man, they was at the studio talking about doing a Proud to Pay CD for Pac-Man, because Pac-Man CD was going to be released. So there were whereabouts where he was the 30th. And on the 29th, if you listen to Master P interview after he did Higher, Master P said he had seen him 2 days ago on the 29th because he went to do the soundtrack for him on that new movie that Master P got coming out.
Uh-huh.
I forgot the name. I got the hookup.
The hookup too. Yeah, the hookup too.
Yes. That he was seen because I know you know Pac-Man, one of his boys. He did an interview and he said that him, Nipsey, and Black Sam was in the studio that 30th that night, and he had supposed to did a Proud to Pay for Pac-Man to do, but he said that they were supposed to meet up on the 31st, and Pac-Man said everything popped off, so they weren't able to meet up because he was killed that next day. So there are 2 days that his whereabouts was,
Yes, and that's something that should have been brought into the court. That information
that's
there.
What I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everybody keeps talking about where he was for them 2 days, and because I was following everything, and I know on the 29th he did Higher, and Master P was on the interview saying that within them 2 days he was over at his house doing that soundtrack before I got the hookup. And then Pac-Man, he did an interview, and he said that him, Nipsey, and Black Sam was at the studio that night talking about setting up a Proud to Pay CD for Pac-Man release. And he told Pac-Man not to do anything until they had that meeting. So Pac-Man said they had supposed to net up on the 31st. So there was the 2 days they supposed to be missing when everybody knew where his whereabouts was. I don't know where they got that from. That he was missing.
Isn't that something? And if you know that, they should know.
And all you have to do is, and then his mom said that he went to his god brother's birthday party, which is Adam.
Yeah.
Adam is his mother godson, and it's an IG post. That was his last IG post, not Twitter. His god brother happy birthday, but his birthday was on the 31st. But I guess they celebrated a day ahead of time, which was the 30th. And then that following night, they all went back to the studio, and Pac-Man did an interview saying that him, Black Sam, they was all at the studio talking about releasing his CD, but they wanted to do a Proud to Pay CD, and they were supposed to meet with Nipsey on the 31st back at the studio. So there was a day that was missing. So I don't know why they're not even releasing that or talking about that. But
they really should be.
There are receipts for all that.
They should be having. They should. All of that information is. Thank you for that. That's really good. That information should be part of the transcript. Thank you. Yeah, that information should be part of the transcript. Nipsey Hussle, Ernest Askadon, as she stated, had life, and he had activities that he was participating in, and which would help us to understand where his mindset would be, where his spirit was at those particular times. The things that we're saying and that she's saying and people were saying leading up to his assassination didn't have anything to do with him wanting to spit any venom on Eric Holder or come at him in any kind of foul way, because he wasn't, none of his activities prior to that was even leading up to that. Even the day before, none of that. It just doesn't match for them to try to portray him in the media that he was somehow up there being antagonistic towards Eric Holder. Please. That's just a story. Hi, how are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. Hood. This is Lysandra. Good afternoon, Miss Renee, and to the Hood family.
Hi, how are you?
I have a question, Miss Renee. Hi. I'm well, thank you very much. I have a question for you and a comment. What I'm not understanding, and I'm hoping you can speak to, is How is it that we have this heinous crime committed to Nipsey Hussle? We have somebody like Carrie Latham, the getaway driver, and Cowboy, who all have immunity. Why would we give witnesses immunity? What about Evan? What about the nephew? What about the woman who talked about she heard that Nipsey Hussle was shot in the barbershop, or the various numerous people who were in that area at the scene? How does law enforcement take the people who seem to be involved or could possibly have some involvement and give them immunity, but we don't hear anything about all these other numerous witnesses who were there?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because this is my speculation. Yeah, thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, if you don't want to find the truth based on you really knowing the truth, then you're not going to do a fair and impartial investigation. You're not going to pull these people in that you know might disclose what you don't want to disclose. And if you know the people who are involved and who have knowledge about what went on, if you want them to come in and tell the story that you want them to tell, if you want them to follow along with the script and the thing that you put in place, you will give them immunity to protect them because they're a part of it. As I said before, they all had a role to play.
Hold on. You on. OG Charlie, you on, man.
OG, how are you doing?
It is I, my darling.
Hi, OG, how you doing? I'm doing okay. Hey, OG, I got a question for you real quick. What do you know about Circum's Corner? Huh? What you know about that? What do you know about Circum's Corner? Circum's Corner over there in D.C. They knocked it down now, over there off North Capitol Street.
Yes. Knocked it all down.
You know about it, huh?
You won't recognize this place when you come here again.
Oh, my people used to be there. I used to live in D.C., OG.
No wonder. I told you that frequency. It's contagious. I knew you was on it. I wanted to ask you some questions. That's why I called in.
Okay, go ahead.
Me and you have never spoke before. Me and Peaches have never spoke before. I wanted to say what's up, even if she listening, because I always speak through Hood as far as her and him being as one. So now that you called in today, you got a platform like this, I can just say it out direct. Much love to you, sweetheart.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to me.
You from here? I know I hear that lioness roaring.
That's right. You know, here. I know. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we're gonna have to talk.
Be from
here. Yeah, absolutely. There, DMV all day.
Yes.
Now I'm not there now, but I was.
A lot better. That makes the ride a lot smoother. My own kind. Cause you just like, if you from here, shit, you just like me, totally misunderstood. We're gonna send this vibration across America in a minute.
I'm not there now, but I did used to live there. I know a lot about the things you talk about. We'll talk too offline. We'll talk. But go ahead with your question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know they gonna scramble the waves every time I call from here. This is the nation's capital, where the answers at. The whole world looking at us, trying to figure out, but everything is secret. Everything is secret. Everything's got to be politically correct coming out of here. But not me, though. I got this. Miss Renee, I want you to help me catch up on what I don't know. Like, you know how I think about it. Everybody's guilty. I just want to improve my list and figure out what was that on the ground when Carrie looked like he was handing something off to the Rimpar boy. Right when they separated, something dropped on that ground. I heard a lot of things, but the tape never goes far enough to show somebody, anybody, pick that, whatever that was, off that ground. Because that was a handoff right there. I know it's quiet about this, but we got to deal with it. Because I need to find out if somebody got a tape that's just a second longer than what I'm seeing to let me know what was that on that ground. Number two, I want to know who was at that video shoot. Because who was ever at that video shoot, y'all niggas know where them death threats was coming from. He said something about it. I know how he talked. I talked to him enough times to know a little bit more about his character and how he operated. I want that list full, because I don't want to let up at all. I want to know who was at that video shoot, because he told somebody when there was a problem. There's no way you can have threats at a video shoot and the security is up. All of these things took place. Who was there? Because your ass is going on a checklist too. Me and that boy had plans, and them plans will never happen because they stole that. So they got to go on my list. I need help with that. I'm on their ass like some brake lights, Miss Renee.
You doing good. You're right. It's the truth.
I never speak upon opinionated shit, you know?
Whoever was at you're absolutely correct.
I like to have them facts in order when I talk. So from now until the end of time, nobody can catch Charlie up on nothing. I gotta know what was that dropped on that ground, because you already let me know that tape was military. That clued me in right there.
That's right. Yes.
And being as though that is military, there's layers to that video. See, I want people to understand on our side of things that this is a production that went wrong. We're never going to find out what was really supposed to happen, because this was an acting. Nobody could say cut and start over. They messed up what they originally planned to do. Not only do we got to figure out how was the original thing supposed to go, what happened when it messed up, and how much did it up. And figuring out them type of things where I can know what dropped on the ground, because a digital, I always tell the digital X people to call in. If you know video, call in and say that video has been edited, layered over, because there's a lot of black spots in that video. The kid Flashy Boy, he's gone to that airport. Where is he now?
That's right.
He got caught with gun leaving America. Where is he now? Those 2-3 things I'll be satisfied, because that'll keep my list strong of answers that's got to be taxed.
That's right.
And with your help, fellow Washingtonian, I know I will succeed as always. Yes. But I always need help. I'm not too ashamed to ask for it. That's why I like it in Hood Talk, because we clearly admit that we don't know everything. So we able to take in information. That's what's real unique about this whole network. And niggas not knowing it all. Know everything. You can't tell them nothing. But once I can figure this part out right here, I'll be happy, Miss Renee.
So you want to know what fell on the ground. You want to know about the video shoot. And what happened at that video shoot.
Who were the people at that video shoot? And what happened to Kid Flashy? Because all of the rest is you can listen to Nip and figure out what's the situation with Big U. If you listen to his songs, I go back with Nip from '09. I'm listening to a song. He say in the song, he said, I don't have a clue of what you even do. He been trying to get rid of Big U. Big saying, man, listen, man, you taking charge, you want money, all of this shit all the time, old nigga, get off my ass. That bully type mentality is how he was treating him. Keep going through all of this shit with him, because he was the dumbass that went to jail. They come home and brag about time and stuff like that. Man, let me tell you, if you listen to his music, they all guilty. He kept asking for a long time. He said, man, I don't even have a clue of what you even do. I'm busy getting rich. You think that I'm going to stop for you? I do this on my own, and everybody knows it's true. But still, niggas act like they supposed to have control of what I do. Nigga, you ain't got a clue. That's representing for my dog.
That's right. Appreciate you, OG.
Thank you, OG. We're going to work on that, too, to get you the answers you're looking for. We're going to work on all.
I'm going to hit you up later, too.
Yeah, bet that. Love y'all. Thank you, Miss Renee.
Love you, too.
Tell Peaches I say hi. I never even got to spoke to her. I just want to make sure ain't no disconnect. I always speak to you and her as one. But since Miss Renee on the phone, I was going to reach out. Tell you what, Peaches, I said what's happening.
For sure. You know I will. She
love y'all, man.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, OG.
That's right. OG Charlie, y'all.
It's always always good to hear from him. What fell on the ground is something that we have to examine again, because they've given us kind of almost two images. Because initially when you see something that's down there, then they want to show a hat or something like that. So I would have to look at more videos to really get into that. Whoever was at that video shoot should have been questioned and should have been brought in. Everybody out there, anyone who's aware of, first of all, where did the conversation come from, him having threats? Whoever that person who started that, not started in as if it's not true, whoever had that information first should have been detained and brought in. But they're not. It's clear to everybody, I'm sure, that they're not doing a good investigation on this topic. They're not. They're hiding information, doing underhanded things with their court process. That's not hood. That's somebody else. That's something else coming from another place.
Caller, you live.
Hey, hi, Miss Renee. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
I was just looking at the video when Nipsey got shot. And Nipsey, when he fell, he leaned up and had his phone, and like everybody was saying, he called his brother or whatever have you. Is it possible that them bullets could have been like tranquilizers? He didn't really get shot. They just like put him to sleep, kind of like, because when he was laying on the ground, when they were supposedly giving him CPR, like everybody was saying, he had like a rubber leg and all that. It might not have been a rubber leg. It was probably his leg moving because he was really alive, but just really like tranquilized and not really shot. And then they took him somewhere and murdered him because they didn't shoot him 10 or 11 times right there in that parking lot. They shot him somewhere else. And he was laying on his back. He wasn't, and like they say, he was shot in the back of the head. How he got shot in the back of the head if he was on his back? And you seen him lean up with the phone in his hand, and then the holder guy, he kicked the phone out of his hand. So I'm just wondering, was that possibly like tranquilizers they could have shot him with? That's my question, Ms. Renee.
All right, appreciate
you. Okay, both of y'all have a blessed one.
You too.
Thank you too. Thank you. There are possibilities. There is a possibility that could be something else, because the reason why I think he had two guns was to get them down. So did they give him something that could have gone in and had his body respond to something else? It's likely that they could have been gunshots, but could they have done something else to him on the way? I know I mentioned that prior too. If they didn't get him there, then they got him on the way, but it's because they were going to make sure that he was assassinated before he got to that hospital. It's highly likely that it happened right up there at the crime scene, but they said that he, if his brother's saying he got shot in the back of the head, then how? And these injuries to his back, then how? I'm thinking the person that was closest to that part of his body was Kerry Latham. Kerry Latham was the one closest to his spine out there. Kerry Latham was the one closest to his head out there. Kerry Latham has, a history of murder. So that's just my analysis. But I'm saying that he was closest to the person to be able to commit that act. That person is Kerry Latham. But you also had other people out there. So I think whoever did this to Nipsey Hussle was a skilled shooter. Let me just say that. We'll get into more of that in one of our info sessions. I'll tell you all what I think about other things in the other session.
You live, caller.
Hello?
Turn the device down in the background.
What's going on? My volume?
Whatever you got playing in the background.
Yeah, it's an echo.
Oh, no, I'm walking in the store. I do work in service. I'm an engineer. I'm in the store. How do I sound now?
Go ahead. You good?
Yeah.
I'm good?
Yeah.
First and foremost, good evening, Miss Renee.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You too.
Hood and Features.
Thank you.
Quick question, Miss Renee.
Yes.
Is the land worth more than the building?
Is the land worth more than what? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
The building.
Is the land worth more than the building?
I would say yes. I would say the land is worth more than the building. Yes.
Appreciate you, Carl.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that the land is worth more than the building because the land is usually more valuable than the buildings, usually. And the land, from what I understand, they want to put a a rail there and other things throughout the city to kind of unify that with other parts of the LA and Los Angeles communities. And the only way to do that is to own or have access to that land. Usually land is more valuable than the property anyway. So yes, I would say yes. The land is more valuable. The land is probably is needed in other ways. Because if they knock down that, I'm not saying this is in anybody's goal, but if they knock down those buildings, the land will still be there. And whoever owns land can usually make a whole lot of money. Because whatever they build on top of it, they got to pay that landowner first. So I would say it's more valuable. Mm-hmm.
Y'all call
Absolutely.
Call in.
See, Nipsey Hussle is more than just hood. I keep saying that to get people to view him in from another spectrum. You know, if he's buying land and property, not just there in Los Angeles either. He was doing that in other cities and other states. And he was going to open it up to educate people about buying land and having investments. A lot of times the powers that be don't only look at where you are, they forecast your life. If this person is doing this now, what would they be doing 10 years from now? What could they likely be? What could they likely own? And it will stop all of that. Okay, go right ahead.
You're on the air, caller.
Yeah, how do I sound? I'm not messing up, am I?
You all right. We can understand you. You good.
Okay. Now, I just want to share this, Miss Renee, and to all the listeners. Mm-hmm. My mother oldest son, I don't call him my brother, my mother oldest son, a cheesy nigga, full of greed. He cashed in when my grandmother died. My grandmother owned a lot of property, so my grandmother got 4 siblings. That's my mother oldest son, my sister, me, and my other little sister, 4 children. This Negro, they keep us out of the loop.
Your phone, your phone, I hear a lot of wind in your phone.
Okay. Here I go. Give me 1 second, big bro. Give me 1 second. One second. I'm to my van. 1 second. All right. You hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes. Okay.
What he did to keep the rest of the siblings out of the loop, he used the property without us knowing anything for collateral to get a loan from the bank. I know it's so many different loops in this thing with Nipsey. We already got the key players. It's just a matter of time. You know, we all have to give time a chance.
Uh-huh.
Here's the thing. I just feel Nipsey was just tricked out of his hustle. Because he really was bright and intelligent, but he was still advancing in his intelligence and his knowledge with the things that he was indulged in. He got tricked real bad. And my heart and all the others who believe, as far as what they see, the duck, they know if it's quacking, that's exactly what the hell it is. It's just a matter of time, but greed, jealousy, and just a total disregard of who Buddy really was based on his past history. A person who really don't give a fuck, who's just tied in with a lot of other good folks that make bread and money and things like that. When they see a little peon Negro coming up out the hood, regardless how much money he done made, he still ain't got the big bread like the big boys. So Big Satan gave Little Satan the pass. Mm-hmm. They bit this man. They bit him. It's all good, and there's a lot of us out here that are potential ducks when it comes to these people that own things that we're trying to purchase, whether it's a brand new car, a brand new house, or land. If my mother oldest son can fuck me and my other sisters out of something because of what he desire and what he want. I know a stranger to Nip, somebody that ain't the hell with a business partner. It was just Nip just plugged in with him because he probably got I got a cousin that got a mean ass talk game. A mean talk game. He'll talk $100 out your pocket. Make you believe anything. And I just feel Nipsey was tripped up out of dreams, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good because God said give time a chance. And it's all going to unravel. And I appreciate y'all for listening, and I appreciate you too, Miss Renee. I mean, just everybody. I'm always commenting. I'm always locked in. Always. I haven't donated because I don't know which thing to donate to. I'm scared to donate.
Is the cash
you gotta let me know what to donate. You gotta let me know what to donate to, brother. I'm racked up, bro. I'm good. God got me blessed, man, and I'm good. And I support things.
Oh, that's sweet.
You can hit the Cash App or the PayPal. The link in the description.
Okay, the Cash App now, is it the one with the dollar?
The dollar sign. The one with the dollar sign in the front of it.
All right, I got you, bro. It's coming through. But let's keep pushing people because we the good people of the earth. Trying to make things better. There ain't nothing else better in life than to invest in the lives of other human beings. There ain't no other purpose in life.
That's right.
No other purpose.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's what Christ is. That's what Christ is. Keep paying the lost, call them to the repent, and he taught them how to live.
Mm-hmm.
Taught them how to live. Seek and save the lost, call them to repent, and teach them how to live. That's what Nip did. And that's what we all doing, trying to help one another. Y'all be easy, man. Love y'all.
Man, we love you too.
Love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
JX, man. Jason. JX.
JX in the building, y'all.
JX. All right.
That's right.
Yeah, people will. I mean, a lot of times when you achieve or you come into money through death and things like that, people will come in. Here come the predators, and they will come in and take advantage of you. And people will get envious. So, as we know, just because you acquired something or you start owning businesses or you start going through the ranks in the music industry, people do get jealous and envious. They surely do. Nipsey was bad. Nipsey is bad. And he was shaking and moving in a lot of different ways that we'll talk about in one of the info sessions regarding that.
Y'all call in. Y'all call in before we wrap it up. Let's take some more phone calls.
You all are calling in with a lot of good things a lot of good points. Okay, go ahead.
You live. Hello? Are you there? Nah, you low. Your phone. You got me on speakerphone. Take me on speakerphone. Your phone real low. I can't hear nothing you saying.
Hold on. Can you hear me now, Hood?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm calling from LA. And,
all right.
I love your show. I love you and people. I love what you're doing for Nip. You know, we said out here, I ain't even gonna lie, I'm a female. I'm in my 50s. But these calls can be recorded. It's real. It's real out here. You can get pulled over by the police just for making this call, get taken out the car, and end up like Sandra Blank. You understand what I'm saying? It's real. They killing people left and right. But I grew up in the neighborhood. I knew Nipsey Hussle. And this is on God. 10th Ave and Hyde Park. Drunk cowboy. Walking around the fundamental of him and Lauren London on Double Up. That was my apartment there. Nip was always hanging around older dude. Cool dude. My son knew Nip as growing up with the Westbrook. He went to New Zingo with Westbrook. And him and Nip was good friends. Jay Stone, my daughter dated Jay Stone. Okay? I've been hesitant to call you, to call the show,
They killing people out here. I hear people saying LA not doing nothing. Those niggas over there scared straight. Because they don't know who to trust. They don't know who to trust. They know how easy it was to take Nip out and to make it so easy. And it's too many people involved. Big people are involved. It's not just a simple thing. Big U don't have that much power. Big U is working with us. You talking about the government. You understand what I'm saying?
I
do. This is serious. There's a lot of people behind this shit. That's why we ain't no cowards out here. I swear to God, I'm scared than the motherfucker right now. Just to make this type of something in my soul. Said, Carl, I've been waiting 2 months. I listen to your show every day for everything. I'm a business owner, but I still got to take care of my damn business. But something in my soul. And I can't live in fear, but I have children. And it's real. Over there on Crenshaw Plaza, we already know what it is. Hell yeah, Terry Lathan walking, driving a car. Everybody came up. Everybody came up. It hurts me to my heart right now. It's a serious situation. And it's hard. This shit, you could probably take the little man down. But the big motherfuckers, they never get brought to justice. Because those are some motherfuckers that's running this country. See, I'm telling you what I know. This is this bigger than fucking 60. They just was paid. Somebody called in and said, I don't know how old it is because I'm in California and I'm not good with the time. You do live, you do this and that. And then I just see hood. I drive to you, I just see hood. I listen. They said that the big you get the money from. The government. The goddamn government. That's where you got the money from. It's everything that everybody is saying is true. These niggas are scared. Nobody want to die. Nobody wants their family to get died. You fucking go get killed over me as a female, and I'm found home in the fucking jail. So I've never been to jail in my life. My fucking tell me, no, couldn't tell how we committed suicide. So those niggas are scared. And I think Grandpa is, he knew, everybody knew. Everybody knew, but they ain't gonna say nothing because they don't want to die. They don't want their family to be fucked with. If you don't have that much power like that, he is a punk. You know, so I just wanted to say that. I'm trying to try to keep in contact because I'm moving with the God. I've been protected all my life. And that's what I'm going to live about. The Sue told me to call you and give me courage. And she used to call you. I love what she's doing. Keep on doing what she's doing. And I'm around that area every day. I have a client over there. I have a client right there on 63rd in Crenshaw. It's real. It's real in LA. You can be driving. It doesn't matter. Compton, Long Beach, they have everybody with eyes. It's eyes on everybody. Nobody can be trusted. Nobody can be trusted in that place. You know, we don't have enough out here. Everybody calling from different areas. When you in LA, this shit is real. It ain't like you can call in and say this later, and then you want to say what you really, really know, because you on the phone and you don't know if it's happening. We don't even know if it's being recorded. We don't even know. I heard you say you ain't gonna answer no block number. I said, damn, because I don't want no phone call that can trace your shit back to your address and all this stuff. I'm calling from a 626 number. I'm in LA, and like I said, I grew up. Well, I'm an older woman. I'm in my early 50s, and Nip used to come in the neighborhood and the apartment building with drunk ass cowboy, Howard boy. I didn't see Big U. Big U ass must have been in jail during the time I was around there, and that was around like between 97 and 2005. And I never seen him around. But cowboy was drunk all the time. He probably was undercover crack thief. I wasn't paying attention to those people because I never wanted my parents to grow up in that neighborhood. I just was a little temporarily over there till I got myself together. But it's real out here. It's real. You can get popped. You can get popped just from associating with people. Don't nobody trust nobody. They grew up with each other. They ain't trusting nobody. Everybody's a snake. It's a lot of goddamn snakes. It ain't even no motherfucking real people. The people live real well. It's all jealous of them. You can't even trust nobody. You can't even trust them because, and they ain't gonna talk. All those niggas he helped, all those niggas, I'm gonna tell you right now, they ain't gonna say shit. They not gonna talk. They're not. You ain't gonna get one of them to call. You ain't gonna get one of them to call. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's gonna have to take it. I don't know what it's gonna take, but it's gonna take some shit to go down for somebody to go down,
and then they're gonna be on the stand with getting 100 years, and then that's the only reason they gonna talk. Like their damn citizens, just volunteer in the car and come in the police in on it. Police all they have their hands in it. He can't do it. He can't pull that shit off. If you can't pull that off by himself, he got some government money. I'm not even gonna speak on the bigger sources like Jay-Z, but I always question why you bought 100 copies of those CDs because he was known to flip shit. You gotta look at all that. I know you from New York. I know you from New York, but you gotta look at all that. You gotta look at that. It's not just no one person having enough sense. You don't even seem like he's that damn smart. I can tell how he communicates, how he talks, and I'm not talking about the dumb stuff that come out his mouth, just his vocabulary. Okay, he ain't that smart. He ain't that organized. If that's the case, he would have had his own damn business if he was that organized and that. So he has help. All it takes is somebody to say, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, then it's done. Well, Hood, I love you. I'm at work, halfway shaking out my skin. I have to go outside, but I'm from LA. I'm in California. I'm around this stuff. People dropping every day. People dying every day out here over this shit. Just from talking, or just from being involved.
Appreciate you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you for calling in.
We love
and
you
be safe out there too.
That's right.
Love you.
All right, so take care. Keep on doing what you're doing. And we riding for Nip, and I mean that. All right.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Hello?
Y'all call in. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, come on, call in. See, it's serious. You know, it's a lot going on. It's a lot of things connected to this. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're staying on top of it. So for those who can't speak, maybe we can speak for them. Maybe we can be a voice for them. Because, you know, they have a different reality. If they're right there, they do. They have a different reality that they have to face on a day-to-day.
You on the air, caller?
Oh, yes, indeed, man. What's the deal? Number, love, and respect. Miss Renee, my queen. Blessings.
Oh, thank you.
What's good?
Thank
420.
It's hey, 420.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's 420, the LA connection.
Uh-oh.
Tuning in, man. I had to fall back for a tad bit, brother. Miss Renee, maybe you can assist me too, man. Excuse me, ma'am. Some clarification. I'm gonna just dive straight in. I came across a couple of videos, man, and in the background of these videos, I kind of acknowledged the abnormal size satellite dish sitting in the property across the street from the TMC clothing store. And I'm gonna repeat that. I fell back for a minute because I started investigating some videos. There's something in the video that caught my eye. Mm-hmm. Coming from the life of the walk of life I used to represent, when you acknowledge something like that, it strikes your attention heavily. It's like an orange hat with a green bib. It's going to stand out amongst all white. Mm-hmm. With this being said, it was an oversized satellite directly across the street, off of Slauson, right there by the little burger stand, the donut shop, etc. Diagonally across the street from Nip's spot. So I googled up a gang of satellites and what they're used for, and this is an interceptor. And an interceptor basically is an intercept. It's another way to go around that. It says something about it could tap into video frequencies, audio, telephone, etc. So I just placed two and two together. And what was that being used for at that time in that area? Why was that placed right there? Who was using that? And it's also the same property of where that white BMW is registered to, which comes back as an ex-retired LAPD officer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Made anybody think for a second and just take a deep thought, didn't it? Anything I tell you, best believe that it's official, it's a fact, it's not me assuming, it's not something that I've heard, it's not something off another individual's platform. This is something I took my time and dug into and just came out with the actual conclusion of it. And once again, I state that there was an oversized satellite dish that I'm pretty sure several people can see, still to this day, in them old videos, when people were recording, it was across the street from Nip's location. What was it being used for? What was that interceptor placed there for? Why? Monitoring. Another caller just called. They gave in a valid point, like, if he was being investigated secretly and all this other garbage, why didn't they prevent it?
well, why are you going to prevent something that you're orchestrating?
Exactly.
It's my own personal opinion. It's 420's own personal opinion. But once again, I will not stop nothing if I'm orchestrating it. I'm going to make the naked eye think whatever. But it's just too many things to keep pinpointing. That's why we're getting this layered video. It makes sense now. That's why nobody else had any video over there, because the interceptor was there. The interceptor was there. So each and everything that they thought that was being recorded was coming directly to them. Now they could play with it and tamper with it. Dive into the information that I'm telling y'all. Do some research. Guaranteed the chat is going to guaranteed the chat is going to be like, yeah, Earth 420, man, pinpointed that on tag. The video shows it.
Because
and when the video shows that little satellite, tune into it.
That's right. Appreciate you, Earth.
Blessings. I'm gone.
All right, my
yeah,
brother.
thank you. Appreciate that.
All right.
That's why I was questioning
y'all.
some of those videos that had the military time on it. That's not normal. It's not no everyday. Not military time. No.
Y'all call in. Yo, Zeke, what's good with you?
Hey, what's up, Hood? How's everybody? Peaches, Miss Renee. Hey, listen, I have a question. I want to touch on something. Earlier today when Miss Bonita was talking, right, and correct me if I'm wrong, and if y'all spoke on this already, I apologize. I had to get out the house, so I couldn't keep listening. But Miss Bonita had made mention about being in the courthouse, right, and she said she looked into some paperwork on Carrie. And she said something to the fact of, Carrie, you know how everybody was like, how Carrie get life in prison and he got out? And she had mentioned something about, no, Carrie maxed out. I must have repeated it about 30 times in the chat. What I want to know is if Miss Bonita is saying the man maxed out, are they basically telling us that was a bull? Man, I'm about to curse, excuse me. Was that a BS lie that they said he got violated on parole? They took him back to prison and all that other crap. Because if she's saying he maxed out, you ain't got to report to parole, probation, and none of that. Follow me?
That's right.
Right.
So
that's right.
I'm really concerned with that right now, because if Miss Bonita said that and she coming from the courthouse,
right.
I'm like, wow, wait a minute. That's when all this conspiracy stuff starts coming into everybody's head. Like, we all know what we saw wasn't right. I'm not going to go there with this. What I'm trying to figure out is if the man maxed out, I don't care if it was in New Jersey, California, Texas, or Chicago.
That's right.
You max out, you done your time. You don't have to report for probation, parole, or nothing else. They said the man got locked up again after this happened because he was around gang members. He violated parole. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. I never believed it anyway.
I just wanted to chime in on that, man. You know I don't talk much.
And my boy Zeke. That's right.
Hey, Zeke. Well, I never, but when they pulled Carrie in the first time, I didn't believe it. I always thought it was just a method to pull him back in, and they needed to provide the public with an excuse for their contact. I never believed it from the beginning. I just thought we got to pull him back in. We need to contact him. We need to give this information out that it's for a parole violation. He came out too quick. I mean, everybody has a way out. We just look at it. They're giving everybody a way out.
Yeah.
That's not hood. No, that's not hood. When they want to lock us up and keep us in there and find out the truth, or even they want to put a lie on us, they get us if that's what they want. It doesn't seem like they really want many people held accountable. Eric Holder didn't do this by himself. And it doesn't look like they want to hold people accountable who should be out there. I mean, we could just start and stop if we just want to with the getaway driver. There's no way she should have immunity. And surely not Carrie Latham. Everybody got an alibi. As I said before, they've given everybody an alibi and a way out when it comes to Hermes Ascadon, Nipsey Hussle. It's just too much. It's too many. It's just too perfect for everyone to have an exit away from accountability.
You on, caller?
Yo, Hood, this your boy P90, man. That something else came across my mind, man.
What's going on?
P90 from North Cackalack.
That's right. P90 in the building, y'all.
How you doing?
I'm all right, Miss Lady. How you doing? I'm enjoying y'all conversation, man. It's real enlightening, man. Y'all keeping Nip name alive, man. That's real important right now.
That's right.
Thank you.
But what I came across, right, when Nip was first murdered, they said it was an interview that dropped, but Big Sam didn't do no interviews. Everybody know that. But they said that the grandma had called Big Sam and told him that something happened to Nip, and he ran out the house. So I'm thinking, when you run out the house and you go see your brother, and when he got there, they said he was trying to hold him up, and Nip was, down or whatever the case may be, whatever. That video that they showed us is kind of weird, man, because if my brother dying or he barely living, and they wheeling him into the ambulance, wouldn't you be right there beside the damn stretcher going into the ambulance with him?
You would think so. Or he would come up somehow, close to there.
So
that video.
So how did Black Sam? Yeah. So how did Black Sam end up disappearing from all that chaos out there? If Black Sam got out there to see his brother take his last breaths or when he was wounded, how did he disappear? Like, this shit just weird. Some weird shit going on.
Unless they told him he couldn't get in there and he got in his car. They can do that too if they're trying to hide and conceal. Could have told him that too. They could have told him that too.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, when you're done,
No, tell the P90 appreciate you, bro.
No doubt, man. Appreciate that, Hood.
All right.
Thank you for calling in. See, when the powers that be want to present information, they can create it in any aspect that they want to create it when they're trying to hide the truth. Sometimes people put things right in front of your face because they're hiding something else. Sometimes they'll do that too, to manipulate what you see. For all of those images to be blocked out, someone had to tamper with that. All of them to be blocked out, someone had to interact with that video. A good question would be is to TMZ, where did you get that video from? Where did you get that footage from? Because they were the first one that got it, as far as we know. So where did you get it from? And who did you get it from? Did somebody send it to you? Did you get it from one of your reporters on site? How did you get that video and who did you get it from? That would be a good question. Quite frankly, they should have been in too, because these prosecutors, they look at those types of footage and all of that, and they may want to pull it up for evidence or whatever. I would ask them. If I was a prosecutor, no one would be off limits. Just like it wouldn't be if it happened up there in Beverly Hills. They'd be asking everybody. Sending all kind of investigators in there to find out what happened here. They're just not doing it because it's Nipsey Hussle or Miss Ascadon.
Caller, you on the air, caller.
How you doing, Hood Talk News? This is T. Mars from DC calling.
Hi, how are
Miss
you,
Renee?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
I just want to say that I love the show. And I finally got in. I've been calling since I got off work. But I just wanted to say that I wanted to piggyback on what the other caller just talked about with Black Sam. I know that it seems kind of weird that he wasn't there at the scene when he got there to, I guess, help Nip out. But I think that Black Sam just doesn't want to be at the forefront. He wants to continue being in the background. And my question is, with the businesses being in his brother's name, because I did look that information up while I was at work, because I work as a paralegal for the government in D.C., I was wondering, could they potentially try to target Sam, being as though they got Nip? And I'm asking that because the incident that happened in the alley when Sam had to shoot in the air to get Big U to calm himself down in that fight. So that's my question. Could they potentially be trying to get him? Like, will he be another target?
He likely could be another target. Probably not right now. And the only reason why I'm hoping never, but it's so hot right now, it's highly unlikely, because then that would generate questions and send people in another direction. And Ernest Ascadon, Nipsey Hussle's death could have really been directed at Sam. They could have taken Nipsey Hussle because they wanted to hurt Sam. he could have originally been the target. They could have created a scenario. This is just me thinking. They could have created a scenario around Nipsey and to take him because they want to hurt Sam. And they want Sam to be alive to endure the pain of losing his brother. I think they wanted to hurt both of them. I think because Nipsey Hussle was advancing in the way that he is, and I think because of the brother, and the incident with Big U. Nipsey Hussle, Hermes Ascadon, and Black Sam changed the economics of that neighborhood. Let me repeat that. Right. Hermes Ascadon and Black Sam, they changed the economics of that neighborhood. That's when it's not hood. So they become targets. They both become targets. And they could get you. The point was to try, and I'm not just saying this to you because you're bringing very valid points. I'm just talking on the topic. They will come in and divide and conquer. And the one who was most visible was Nipsey Hussle, Hermes Ascadon, more so than Sam. Let's just say I'm mad. Right. Let's just take it hood. I'm mad at somebody, and you beat me up. Well, I can't really beat you up. Then I'll go get your little brother, and I'll get him on the way home from school to hurt you. Because, see, I really don't like neither one of you. Because we don't want neither one of y'all over here anyway. So we will take him to hurt you, Sam. And if we take your life, surely, Hermes Ascadon, you're not here anymore either. So we've already hurt you because we've killed you. And the person who can be left to endure all the suffering, who we will take down because we know that he will be in grief, is Sam. Because now we have hurt you. You over here throwing these shots up to protect your brother? Oh, really? Your brother is the one putting you on that airplane to take you out of town? Okay, we'll take your brother. That's what we'll do. We'll get him to hurt you. That's a possibility, too. We'll take him to bring you down. Could he still be a target? Yes, but that's something that probably wouldn't, hopefully it happens never, probably wouldn't happen right now, because then it would bring people in to say, wait a minute. You took one, and now you took the other. There's something else going on behind the scenes. But the people who had a lot
thought about that last night. I was like, if that were to happen, and God forbid I don't want it to, then we would really know who the culprits are, because there are some very big players in all of this. But that was just one of my many questions.
And you're right. There are a lot of deep players. Yes.
You. Appreciate you calling.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, there are a lot of strategies to this. There are a lot of strategies and a lot of views. Like I said, envy and jealousy is not just from the hood. It can happen at many other levels too. And it does. Any other callers?
You're on the air, caller. Yeah.
Who?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, I can hear now. Yeah.
Okay. What I want to say is,
take me out speakerphone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, it's better. It's a lot better.
Okay. What my opinion is on this Nipsey Hussle, I never heard of Nipsey Hussle. Never, but I've been studying him. I'm the type to study, and I read. I read the book by Omarosa, and it talked about Trump and how when somebody hurt him, what he will do and the means he'll do. As you see, he put all his people in prison, and he's still out here. Now his wife is about to be in prison, and he's gonna still be out here. Well, you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, we hear.
Okay, so Nipsey made that video. He was in there with YG, Donald Trump. And if you look at it, everybody that's in that video is being targeted. Not the video shoot, it's the people that made that song, Fuck Donald Trump. And I've read up on him. He will, like when the black churches was getting shot up, it was because if you read Omarosa's book, what's the name of that book? I forgot the name of the book, but I got it, and it's at the library.
if you read her book, she would explain how Trump thinks. And I love Nipsey like I knew him all my life. I'm 60 years old, and I love his music. But if you listen to that one song, "Fuck Donald Trump," you will hear him say that Trump he lost his inheritance for votes, and that's what really happened. He's really broke. But he got enough influence. He got his money back. He got enough influence and power he's a contractor. He's building. They want that spot. He wants everybody that had anything to do with the making of that video taken down. That's why they targeting YG now. And I had said that in the comment, and then the next day they busted up YG's house, shooting up YG's cars. They didn't know they was bulletproof. And it's the police working with it, and everybody's saying to somebody higher up, who has the most power, the most influence, the most money, that can do something like this and carry it through with the people that's around. Like, everybody in there was being paid off because they were actors. And if you really look at it, the people that was there, why are they questioning them? Why won't they question those people?
Appreciate you.
Why aren't they questioning the police?
That's right. She on it.
Appreciate you, calling.
And and trust me, if you read Omarosa's book, you will see in there, it will tell you exactly what Trump will do when you hurt his feelings. And I hate to put that out there, but that's how I've been feeling, and I can't hold it back no longer. I know I could be targeted for this, but the truth is the truth. Look at that video of Donald Trump. Everybody in that video is a target because he felt like we turned against him, and he's the man. He mad at Nipsey for one thing because Nipsey was doing the things that he wanted to do, and he failed at. He was at the casino. He failed at the casino. He wanted to build properties. He did all of that. But you know what? He lost everything. Nipsey was building it at a young age. He cannot stand to see anybody do anything that he tried to do and do it better. So I think that needs to be put out there. And that's where the higher up is. Everybody wondering where's the higher up? Forget the videos. Forget the shoots about everybody that was around there. Everybody knew it was a fake video. But the thing is, it might have been a fake video, but you got to look at who was able to do something like that. And stop everything from being on the news. Because you don't hear nothing about Nipsey on the news. I've been looking. The only time I hear this is when I go on YouTube. And I study, and I study, and I study. I've been watching his videos from the time he was 16, I don't know how old he was, but he looked like a little boy. And now he's a man, and he still was making that music. And I'm going to tell you, it all started with the Fuck Donald Trump song, YG and him, that he collaborated on. He thought YG was Snoop. And that's why he has targeted Snoop at first. But all black people look alike to them. But that's where the higher up is. You got to really, really think about it. That is the higher up. Okay, thank you. I'm so glad I got through because I had to put that out there because people need to know who to really look for in the higher ups. Yep. It's higher than Camilla Harris. It's higher than everybody. And you got to also think, he did the same thing when it came to Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett was against him. You see what he did to him. I don't care. That story wasn't made up. I watched that from the beginning because I remember Jussie when he was a little bit boy. And him and Journey Smollett, their whole family, they all look alike. But I'm going to tell you like this. Anybody that does anything to Trump, he tries to take him down, and he's still up on top because he has his little minions doing it. And that's with them, Big U, all of them. Okay, thank you.
All right.
That caller right there is on it. She's on it. She is on it. If anybody wants to review and listen to her. Listen to her. She had the courage to say it. Listen to her. This is multi-layered. Listen to her. Nipsey represented more. This is not hood. It never was. That's the story that they gave us. This is not hood.
Hold on. You on the air, caller?
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I thank y'all for letting me be on the platform. I've been trying to get on for a long time. This is really, this Nipsey death has really hurt my heart. I'm a 55-year-old, and I have one son and two daughters, and that just breaks my heart. But I'm just wondering, my theory, I'm from a background of people that trying to help the black people to advance through not being mistreated by the politics, the way the politics work. And my parents, they taught us that not just let nobody white people do you any kind of way. So all of this stuff is going on right now. I kind of see it like it's around election time. And California plays a key part to the election. They are a key part to the electoral votes. And the purpose of Nipsey's death, bless his heart, rest in peace, because it brings back memory. I lost a nephew a couple of years ago. He was an inspired rapper, and he was selling his CDs out the trunk of a car. We went everywhere, all around, the United States doing that. And but anyway, it just brings back memories. But I know it's higher up, but I'm feeling like in my heart and my spirit is telling me that, and I'm kind of nervous, that this has something to do with election time. We need to get these black folks' minds focused off of the election and on something else, that they won't worry about voting in the election and then Trump get back in office. Well, we don't want to go through another 4 more years of it. So all I'm saying is, people, I love Nipsey, and I'm on all of these. I'm following all this stuff. I've been following it from day one. And it's so much I've seen in different little videos that, it's just, it lets you know that it's higher up. So, but while we want justice for Nip, and that's no doubt, but also black people and Latinos and Mexicans especially, because he's trying to ship y'all back to the country. We want to keep our focus on this election. We don't want Trump to get 4 more years in this office. We really going to be in trouble. And I thank y'all for my opportunity to speak on your platform. Thank you, Miss Renee. I enjoy your show. I really do. And I just wanted to say that. And that's all.
Thank you for calling, caller. We appreciate
Thank you for calling in. And she's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep, she's right. We have to pay attention to the timing. We have to pay attention to what's coming. That's why we have to look at Miss Askadon more than just hood. Because this isn't just about the hood. This isn't just about snitching. It never was. As long as we believe that and attach ourselves to that and not look into it in any other manner, they'll get away with it. Next caller.
Y'all call in. Take a couple more phone calls before we wrap it up, y'all. Call in.
Yeah, I mean, Nipsey stopped being hood a long time ago. He stopped a long time ago. When he started opening up those businesses, when he became a community activist, he was a lot more and had engaged a lot more before he even got that Grammy nomination.
Caller, you on the
air?
Good talk.
What's going on?
What's up, man? Hey, man. Thanks for all that. Your whole platform do, bro. It gives me
appreciate you.
Some encouragement and inspiration.
But I wanted to ask about the because I had seen something like a couple days ago about a guy that Jay-Z used to. They were saying like run for, and then he had got the guy out of jail early, and that he said he had a $50,000 job for him, right?
Right.
And he had ended up doing like some type of promotion or something like that with Nip on. I think they were saying that it was the anniversary of Biggie getting assassinated. I think it was like March 9th or something like that. And I just haven't like really heard a lot of people talking about that. So I just don't know. Is that like a like I'm getting distracted, or I just wanted to hear if you knew anything about it, or but I'll get off the line, man, because I know I don't know a whole lot, but I'm trying to learn, bro.
All right.
What's that?
No, I said I don't know too much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that one either.
I'm gonna do some more research on it because actually, yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, I just don't know enough about that or really anything about it. To be honest with you, to speak on it.
Hopefully, he do the research and come back and hit us with it.
I think so. I think he will. And we appreciate all the efforts of everybody out there. Because the information coming from all directions is going to help us to get there. And we have to challenge what has happened in some capacity. And we are. And we can go further with it. You really can. And anyone that has information out there, if you think it is important to share, come on forward with it. But you never know where it may help or where it may lead us.
You can go ahead and give them your final words, but we can wrap it on up.
Okay. Well, my final word in this is, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone. Everyone's part of the family. Everyone that has called in. Everyone who's doing their due diligence to find information. Some very good things came out of this conversation. Very good things. Yep. From the onset, I was saying that this is multi-layered, which it is. And there's some long-reaching arms to what happened to Ermias Askedon, Nipsey Hussle. This was not hood. It never was. Sure, they used hood people to accomplish this. But he represented a lot more to the black community. He represented a lot more to the economic system in LA and the economic system here across the states. And when you become powerful like that, and you have the ability to move the meter in the economic system, you become a target. Just like we say in the hood, if somebody gets some money, you better be careful. They'll come get you. Well, when you start shaking the meter in this America, they will come and get you. This is not just hood. And I believe the people at the police department and the people in that local government know, and other parts of this government are fully aware of what happened to Nipsey Hussle, Ermias Askedon. I appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight and coming forward. I love you. Surely you know Mr. Hood and Peaches love you, and the whole family. And when we say family, it's everybody. We're all family. Remember, we're going to have these info sessions this week.
That's right.
And make sure you all tune in tomorrow.
That's right. Appreciate y'all, man. We love y'all, man. Hood Talk News.
Appreciate you.
We out of here,
all
y'all.
Right. All right. Bye-bye. We're out.
That's right, y'all. We up out of here. We about to get up out of here, man. But man, y'all hit the like and share, donation, hit the Instagram, hit the Facebook, hit everything, man. That got something to do with Hood Talk News if you can, man. I love y'all, man. We had a good day today, y'all. We ain't let them haters discourage us, man. We had a good day to y'all. This is the type of days we gotta have every day. But I love y'all, man. Hood Talk News, I'm out.